Howdy, folks. Your host, Double J, back here, coming at you live for Operation GCD Fridays. Once again, your host of Operation GCD, JJ Vance here, and more notably, not the vice president. Anyhow, folks, I will not belabor the points any further this evening other than to welcome in our guests. We got Landon joining here from the host of the Daily Dissident. Landon, greetings, sir. Welcome back from our Operation GCD Fridays.
Absolutely, buddy. Excited to be here, ready to rock tonight. So we got a lot of good stuff coming up. So
we had a little bit of an audible. We were going to do some weird West Virginia stuff. We've tabled that for a future show when Ryder Lee can make it back here to join us for that one. What else is new on the Daily Dissident?
Just kind of really been taking things slow at the moment. I haven't really worked on much of anything this week, so I'm looking to get a little bit done this weekend. So hopefully,
Bill Colby's folks are here. That's good to see RR, right? This is Bill Colby's #1 fan. Go ahead, sir. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, I was just saying, not a whole lot coming out done wise. Just trying to get some things done around the house. So hopefully I have something out next week, a solo dolo. So
nice. Working on that bio warfare stuff. I want to hear more about that relative to the Cabazon Indian Ranch and the whole Promise software business, right?
Absolutely. I got a little new info on that tonight too. So hopefully I get to drop a little bit of that. Something weird. It's not a definite fact or anything, but it's definitely a weird coincidence.
Well, that sounds like some exciting stuff. I'll definitely be tuning into that because that bio warfare stuff seems to be prevalent and not discussed in many aspects regarding all that, Michael Riconosciuto, Promise software business. China
Lake, your favorite place on earth?
Yeah, and I think it indicates a larger spectrum of activities around these folks other than just selling bunk software to go spook on other countries, right?
Yeah, it goes a lot deeper. Genetic warfare.
For sure, dude.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, weird programs, right? Weird testing programs. And folks at the interwebs can check out Operation GCD Sundays here, free Patreon preview on Sunday, 9:15 Eastern Standard Times. We're talking about some more of those weird programs with the UniBomber. He was an MK Ultra.
Super excited to hear about this. Looking forward to hearing about that.
That's me. JJ meets the UniBomber, sorta. So it's my interest. I'm going to tell the tale of my interest in the UniBomber and what I've kind of looked at over the years and questions I've had relative to just some analyzing the facts and details as they're sold to us, right? But
was he wrong? That's the question I have with the UniBomber. What he was spilling out? Was he wrong on the information he was giving us? A lot of it is very true today. If you look,
you ain't kidding, dude. You ain't kidding.
I'm not saying he's a saint.
Was he right? How guilty was he? The only one? Was he really the Uno bomber?
Right.
You know what I mean? So anyhow, I was one of my dudes is from the UniBomber's town there in Lincoln. That's his hometown, and so is his wife. And I was a member in their wedding party back circa July of 1999. I think it was 9. Yeah, that sounds right. And, so shortly after the events of the UniBomber, and due to technical difficulties, folks of the interwebs and the Operation GCD Patreon subscribers, more notably, can check out Thursday's show that was supposed to be a premiere last night. And due to not live, if you will, due to technical difficulties, will be live tomorrow night, 9:15 Eastern Standard Times. So that's what I got going on Operation GCD. And it looks like we got Troublemaker Jonah. Welcome back for another Operation GCD Friday, sir. Thanks for joining us here tonight to get a little GCD.
Yeah, what's good? I mean,
Jonah,
let's be honest, was UniBomber one person? Because let's just go think about it. He was active in 1970, not at all through 1980, but then all of a sudden, Janet Reno, that fucking cow.
That beautiful young gal is what you meant, I think, right?
I would call her a heifer, but a heifer is actually a virgin cow, so she's definitely not one of those. But, her, Louis Free, fuck him. And,
you mean, wait a second, sir, you mean Hunter Biden's handler? Louis Free, old one-eyed Willie?
Yeah. Fuck that guy, too. But
I'm glad you brought that up. I got a nice Hunter Biden halftime clip for us later tonight. But, yeah, dude, it's only in the name.
One where he talks about crack?
No, he tells you how to make it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I mean,
the scientist, the crack scientist Hunter Biden is in the session.
I mean, who doesn't know how to make crack? Anyone who's listened to Biggie, the tranny lover, Biggie.
Right.
You know,
that's right, dude.
yeah.
Wait, and he had a trans in his music video, right? Back in like way before the Transpocalypse, right?
Not one. There was
more than
I
one.
think it was. Yeah, so when the one when Diddy and him go to the fucking Epstein Island, which isn't Epstein Island, but it is Epstein Island, you know what I mean? When they're running from the police for the Bad Boy soundtrack, there's a tranny in that video. But then there's another one where he's hitting on a tranny, and then the chick goes into the bathroom, stands in the urinal between two dudes. I think that's juicy. I think.
That's Janet Reno, dude. She was Miss America back in '66. I'm obviously making that up. So no, dude, I didn't know that. Well, it's interesting you bring that up because no,
it's Chad Smith, isn't it?
It looked like Will Ferrell.
Smith, isn't it?
Right, Chad. Yeah, it's the Chili Peppers drummer. That's right. So it is interesting because
are identical. They're like clones of each other.
Oh, for sure. So we see these matters of this transpocalypse situations that are more prevalent today, but I think I feel like many respects, like we were talking about the biowarfare stuff, being a larger network of hood rat shit, right? Well, that's your favorite trans, right? Colonel Pritzker, U.S. Army Colonel Pritzker, right? So I think it's coming to light now. It's coming to the surface of our society, but it's been in here for a while. It's been present. We just haven't had the eyes to see it necessarily. And you're pointing out a Biggie video. I was unfamiliar with. I only thought there was one. So I'll match you there, sir. I'm trying to think which Bond film it was. It was a Roger Moore one. I think it was For Your Eyes Only. He's my least favorite Bond. But they had like a pool scene full of trans with Roger Moore. I'll pull it up.
Creepy.
Yeah.
This is like 1980, I feel like maybe. They recognize one of them was a trans, but you look at the pictures, you're like, wait a second, she might be the most female looking character there. And that one was in Playboy, I think. The one that they recognize. Yeah. I've never seen the Playboy. I don't know what kind of, if you're wondering what kind of equipment it has, I couldn't tell you. And nor do I care, right? What I do want to recognize is the beauty and just the absolute gorgeous nature of our former Attorney General, Janet Reno.
And I looked it up, and I guess it's the Big Papa video where he's sitting on the chick and she goes in and uses the urinal in the video.
Yeah, she's just standing at the urinal, right? I mean, I remember seeing a clip of that in recent years, but like no one really paid attention to that in the 90s, right? That was a huge music video.
And I'll be right back, actually. I gotta jump off here for a few moments.
No worries, dude. Come back. I know you got something going on. Maybe Clint's back with us.
I'm back.
Hey, Clint, how you doing, sir? Yeah. Welcome back to Operation GCD. Perfect timing. We got a little tag team.
Yeah, you were talking about the butcher of Waco, Janet Reno.
I was talking about the former Attorney General and potential most gorgeous woman on the planet, Janet Reno.
Yeah, when Waco happened, right afterwards, John McCaw, he was the ATF director. He admitted that they burned it. They burned it down. I posted the episode in the private chat if you want to check it out later. That Waco, the lady there who was the governor of Texas was wearing. I got a picture of her with a upside down pentacle on her shirt for a symbol of the Eastern Star, and that all these occultists were all over that Waco. They can't have any competition against their insane cults.
Speaking of blowing things up, and I do want to thank you folks at the interwebs for joining us here tonight to get a little GCD. And we do have a barn burner. Speaking of barn burners, I'm glad to see Bill Colby's fan clubs here. #1 ball washer, RR. Your dedication certainly keeps me motivated there, sir or ma'am. Speaking of bombers, Guy Fawkes is innocent. No gunpowder was ever found under Parliament. Well, that's cute. That's real cute. He was the fall guy, perhaps. However, we're going to try to claim the Vatican wasn't part of a plot to murder King James, who rewrote their Bible. I would argue otherwise.
Yeah. Wasn't the Vatican involved with the plague as well, right? Poisoning the wells.
They're always up to something, dude. They're always behind it all, aren't they? I call them the cloak diddlers of Rome.
Yeah. That's a good one.
So
Club
what's
Doolers.
what's new at the Third World Assassin channel there tonight, there, sir?
Oh, just doing some research on the mystery schools and Stone Foundation before I came on. This whole British Israelist Masonic Star cult alien shit. These people are all wackos. They've got all the money in the world, and they all say that you're gonna go woke or go broke or whatever. But the woke people will never go broke because they've already got all the money.
That's interesting you say that, because I know you always like to talk all this Freemasonry stuff and the kind of the machinations of this secular humanism, Freemasonry in the Israeli nation of the Rothschilds, as you point out, is the B'nai B'rith quote unquote religion, right?
Yeah, B'nai B'rith is just Hebrew Freemasonry. Freemasonry has all different shades.
Well, I mean, relative to these Rothschild matters that we all deal with and plague us through the matters of Israel and central banking and all these leaders of our Western world that are all Rothschild banking leaders. Right? I think it is interesting because I was just looking at it the other day, and yet again, another major person in the DNC who is of Jewish heritage, if you will, is his father was a B'nai B'rith. What do you call it? Minister or priest or man of the cloth? What are we calling them?
They're warrior monks. They are
warrior monks. Well, that's a new one. I wasn't familiar with that.
Yeah, that's what Bo Gritz calls himself as well. They're all members of this warrior monk priesthood, where they have a plan of world conquest, and that they indiscriminately lie to their initiates and tell them that it's all about self-perfection, but it's really all about their plan. I showed a clip from a book on my
now, where do these B'nai B'rith folks stand on the Transpocalypse, sir?
I mean, they probably made it. I mean,
right?
The cultists made all this stuff. They make culture. That's what they do. They craft culture. They're artificers. They create artifacts, and that these artifacts aren't made of material things. They're made out of words and language, and that people listen to these ideas and these concepts, and then they use them as a model of reality to they use them as what's like here's the quote I found. This is from Albert Pike's book, page 792. If you would understand the true secrets of alchemy, you must study the works of the masters with patience and assiduity. Every word is often an enigma, and to him who reads it in haste, the whole may seem absurd, even when they seem to teach that the great work is purification of the soul, and so to deal only with morals. They most conceal their meaning and deceive all but the initiates. So he's admitting that they teach the lower levels that it's about the purification of the soul, but that's not really what it's about. It's about this world communist fucking new age bullshit religion. I mean, they've taken away our country. They've taken away America, the Constitution. We are.
I don't disagree, dude. And it sounds like what you're talking about a lot is what we see within this satanic movement as well, with this matters of deceit, right? And the matters of deception and deceit, not only internally to their organization and to the persons subscribing to the nonsense, but also to the world at large. So that's their main mission, is to do things in a deceitful fashion and do things in an unscrupulous manner, which I would describe as, very technical term, hood rat shit.
Yeah, it's all lying, deceit. They are deceivers.
Well, part of what you're saying, yes, sir, and part of what you're saying also, if I may, I think is what I hear you're saying, is the degradation of society and humanity, right?
Yeah, they're different. One of the main examples of their groups that was put out there to degrade society was the OTO, for example. That it's all about destroying the family, destroying honor, taking away morals, and then replacing them with situational ethics in which they can get people to rationalize evil.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, dude. And I think you're really onto something there in regards to the fact that the OTO professed to be the Bavarian Illuminati of Weishaupt. I mean, that was Theodore Roos's statements. He actually was to be brought up on charges for such matters if it wasn't for King Charles's uncle.
Yeah, they're running the show,
right?
So, do you guys think this goes back? I mean, this whole transpocalypse. Maybe this was infested longer than originally thought, right? Maybe this ideology or this movement was,
Well,
possibly in the Greek and Roman times as well. Dionysius.
I think it is,
and
dude. I think it
Hermaphrodites.
is. That's what. Yeah. And
That's
due
what
to the
the,
free flow of information, I think you're spot on. We're seeing these things are more relevant today. I mean, that's why we can see that this old picture of the James Bond film from 1981 was a bunch of trans.
And wasn't Hitler hanging out at the trans brothel, right?
Well, that's what I was going to bring up, is that before Germany was turned to Nazis, there was a sexual movement which was controlled by the Illuminists. And then after Germany was done for, Mingler went to South America, and then he started doing experiments, changing people's genders before they were born. And that I also wanted to add about the religion of the mystery schools is the continuation of the mystery religion of Babylon and the concealed worship of Astarte or Isis, and that their priests and priestesses are called Kadesh and Kadesha, and the Kadesh were the female ones, which would basically have sex with everybody for the goddess, and the male ones would cut off their genitals and fling them on the temple of the goddess in some kind of ecstasy. And that these it's fucked up cult. Fucking they reemerged in Russia in the 1800s, documented by Archon Darul in his book Secret Societies, and that there were thousands and thousands of these castration cult members which were cutting off their genitals with dull knives and shit. Fucking the book's fucked up.
Sounds fucked up, dude.
It sounds pretty interesting though as well.
It sounds equally as fucked up as looking at this scene from the James Bond film For Your Eyes Only from 1981 and trying to tell me this is the only trans person circled here, is the only trans person in the photo. When she thing has some of the more reasonably when you look at the picture, you're like, well, that looks more like a female than a lot of these characters do. Right?
Yeah. The woman on the far right may have something under.
Dude,
under the
what about the NBA center over there in the back right corner, dude? What's up with that?
When my grandpa was in Korea, he
That's
said
Caitlin Clark.
But when my grandpa was in Korea, he said that there was prostitutes in Korea that was had sex changes and stuff, or partial sex changes.
I mean, that area of the world is pretty notorious for those activities. I would argue it's all Nazi shit that started it there, because the Nazis were doing trans surgeries in Germany beforehand.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, they were also implanting weird insects and surgically combining humans with insects and stuff. They had this, that episode of X-Files where the thing comes out of the throat. Fucking that one was.
You're starting to sound like Alex Jones / Bill Hickser. You mean pig human hybrids that we're talking about here?
No, they had some kind of well, I mean,
these people are demons.
I got the documents.
They were well, it was weird because I was like, I've always liked the X-Files since the 90s, and it's like, and then you find out a lot of the episodes are based on weird shit, but there's like a weird twist to it, you know what I mean? And so the writer of the X-Files is very well read on the conspiracy. It's just
this is a good link, Jonah. Thank you for sharing, sir. Transhumanism and Feral House. This is the Process Church of the Final Judgment's official publishing house, and the Process Church theology.
Farrell, right?
With what is that, sir?
It's Joseph P. Farrell, who's like he's got so much. So he was an Oxford theologist, fucking master's student. But that book, Transhumanism, is actually all about the androgyny of all of our previous religions. So it talks about the Rigveda, the Popol Vuh, Adam and Eve were one, Plato and the Symposium before Jupiter split. We were all one, male and female. So when you look into all of even the common religions, right? They all say that we started as androgyny with both sex parts. But again, too, that could be just infiltration from like the rock.
No, I mean that's a good. You bring up some good points. I mean, I think that when I appreciate where your head's at there, sir. Like a brain hole, what you're describing there. The Feral House folks seem like they would have an interest in publishing that because, again, they're the Process Church Final Judgment's official publishing house. I think they've done 20 some odd volumes of Process Church propaganda. But process church will describe that, like for example, the Satanic Temple. They describe that their Baphomet statue is the representation of the reconciliation of opposites, one of the highest principles of the process theology.
Oh yeah.
So we see that with this transgender movement going hand in hand. That's what I'm saying. So like maybe some of these things we know these cults are older, right? With these transgender business, we know Nazis do these things. But what I'm saying is this paints to me a picture of a playing field where a lot of folks are involved from a lot of different groups, right?
Yeah.
We may not all be subscribing to the exact same philosophies, but they do this. You know, they get along with the same activities in regards to lopping some dicks off or changing some genders or whatnot.
Yeah. In the first 3 degrees of Freemasonry, that the symbols of this has to do with what you're talking about, because the what they call the Lemurian race, quote unquote, was what they referred to. I found this in a weird Rosicrucian book where they were talking about inbreed and all sorts of weird shit. But like the Lemurian race was a 2-sex person. And that the symbols of the first degree, I believe it was Alice Bailey, or I was just reading it to Harry last night, when he came on the podcast. Alice Bailey, I believe, or Foster Bailey, one of the two, that they were talking about how the first 3 degrees represent 3 evolutions, quote unquote, and that the first degree is the 5th degree of the theosophy degrees. And so the theosophy has 4 sun degrees, and then their 5th degree is the first serious degree, which is the first degree of Freemasonry, which is entered apprentice. Then the 2nd is the 6th, and the 3rd is the 7th. And she admits that theosophy and Freemasonry are synonymous, and that that all of these secret societies are all synonymous. They work in the same. They've been working at us for quite some time to destroy our country and economically enslave us.
Well, I think you're right, and that's why I think you point out a lot of good points when you make those statements, sir. Because you're pointing out the secular humanism aspects that seems to be synonymous with all these groups, and they all do ancient alien cargo cult nonsense.
Yeah,
because
the first degree is the entered apprentice on the lodge of Sirius.
Yep.
Yeah, it's weird how these
real serious.
They're involved with the kids, right? You got
what's that, sir? What'd you say, Landon? I apologize, stepped on you there.
You're good. Just saying that these groups, the Masons and stuff, have deep ties with St. Jude's Hospital for Kids and the Ruritans.
Oh, dude, they love that stuff.
It's always involved around kids, right?
Yeah, I think that's probably utilitarian, right? I mean, it helps you get around the kid stuff because they love kid stuff, and these ceremonial magicians do because they all want to do ritual sex magic with children for some reason. That is one aspect of this weird, all this kid diddling stuff. It seems,
programming as well, too, right?
There you go. There's another aspect. Yep, there's another aspect. And then there's also the aspect of, look, we're just a bunch of nice folks.
Right. And
we're a good Samaritan. We're a good. That's what they say. We're a good Samaritan. Right.
Yeah.
And I have something going that JJ. If you want.
Oh, you do? Okay. Well, if you do, please share because I have a note. I have a good note on the Good Samaritan.
Okay.
I think Jonah froze.
While you're looking for, oh, you did freeze, huh? While you're looking for that, Landon, I'm going to go ahead introduce folks to and you all as well, you gents and folks of the interwebs, to what my Good Samaritan clip I was talking about. But in doing so, I have a clip from Eddie Murphy and the cinematic masterpiece from 1991, I believe it was, Another 48 Hours with Nick Nolte. Not. I mean, he's almost as crazy as Gary Busey. He's up there, but not quite Busey crazy. But and Eddie Murphy, and it's one of my favorite scenes from that film and of that era of any comedy, and also encapsulates kind of how I feel today regarding technical difficulties and other such nonsense I've encountered.
All right, knock this shit off. I have been having a very bad day. Just got out of jail this morning. Already I have been shot at. I was on the bus that flipped over 17 times. A bitch tried to stab me in the bathroom. And somebody blew up my Porsche. I am in a bad goddamn mood.
So I don't know if you guys are familiar with Eddie Murphy's background. What were you saying, Clint?
Somebody tried to shoot him. Fucking bitch
Oh,
stabbed
dude, I
him.
love that. So that scene has etched in my memory because I not only did I enjoy the film, obviously, but I remember going to basketball camp that summer. Forget where. It was either Bob Huggins or Pete Gillen, one of the Cincinnati coaches. I went to both that summer. I don't remember which one it was. But basketball camp, you have like, age groups you pair off with, and you have like a coach who's usually like a former, college player, whatnot. This dude was a former college player. Not an all-star, but he was a good player, good coach too. But he would come in every day quoting that scene. Feel like a bunch of 10 and 11-year-olds. You know what I mean? I was just like, it's etched in my memory. But all summer long, I heard that scene every morning. How you doing, Coach?
Awesome.
Had a very bad day. I'm like, holy smokes, dude, this dude's life's rough.
Somebody blew up my board.
Yeah.
I just want to point out, though, too, I find it quite interesting that he says the bus turned over 17 times. So, and if I'm not mistaken, 17 is Q in the alphabet, too, right? So why the fuck?
You are
that's
correct,
one of those things that always comes up. And then, trust the plan, the Q movement, but Q's always come up.
Wait a second. Wait a second. You mean to tell me JFK Jr.'s not alive? He's not going to save the day? So, Landon, did you have something on the Good Samaritan stuff?
Yeah, I have it here.
It was weird how they had JFK Jr. in the Seinfeld show, and then he bites the dust after that.
Well, I'll tell you one weirder, sir. JFK Jr. was a member of the Society of the Cincinnati, Maryland chapter.
Oh yeah,
courtesy of his maternal grandfather.
Yeah, when his plane went down, they freaking somebody put a fake beacon, or they took the plane beacon and put it at a different spot than where the plane was.
No, I think I know what happened there. I read the NTSB report. They, instead of beacon, they used a Muppet. They used a beaker from the Muppets. And that was a problem. They installed Beaker from the Muppets on there. So,
well, this will kind of segue into these Good Samaritans. The Boy Scouts, and one of them
they thrived on being a Good Samaritan, right? Thrived on raping little kids' buttholes for years, being Good Samaritans.
Right, and then the company Bectel, right? The one I've been talking about a lot of. They actually one of the I guess the son of the original Bectel was he was the president from 56 to 59. And if you scroll down a little bit here, you can see that they actually donated $25 million to the Presidio.
Whoa.
Holy smokes.
Now, if we want to get weird, speaking of underground tunnels and bases there in West Virginia, I know that was going to be the topic of tonight.
Well, I was going to say, why don't you give us a little rundown of who Bectel is here? I appreciate you bringing that to my attention, sir. I did not know they had been donating stuff to the Presidio there, Bectel. It makes sense, though.
Yeah,
they are part of that whole military-industrial complex.
That processians.
They're in some dark shit, right?
Crowd, right?
Satanic communists. All from Russia, New York.
So do you want me just to give everybody a little heads up?
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, you want to give us a rundown of who Bectel is and what brought him to your attention before I go on to other matters of Good Samaritans I got lined up for us.
So I figured out about this company because I was looking into this national reserve in the New River Gorge in West Virginia, because I heard some rumblings of an underground base being built or protected lands by military. So I started doing some research into Bectel, and you find out they're doing dealings all over the world, especially with tunnel boring. They're one of the main tunnel boring companies in the world. The second largest government contractor, construction-wise, that gets handed out the most money. But they were huge backdoor for the CIA in the 80s. A lot of ex-CIA people would leave the CIA, go get a job at Bectel, and vice versa. So they kind of had the ear to the ground on these black budget projects, and they're not talked about enough, I don't think, because if you're going to talk about black projects, the main part of a project is to create it, so you have to have someone to build it, right? And they're a construction company, right? So they're on the groundwork before anyone else is. So that's kind of why I led me to these guys, other than maybe some other companies, because just the foundational, efforts of what's going under these bases, or how far these go down, was very interesting to me. So that's how I found out about Bectel.
No.
Reagan's big buddies as well in the Iran-Contra affair.
Oh, well, that's some good stuff you brought to my attention too, sir, because I didn't much. Speaking of the Boy Scouts, I had a very diddle-free experience with the Boy Scouts, thankfully, with the my Mormon troop there at the Boy Scouts. But we used to go to a lot of Boy Scout we definitely went to at least one jamboree in the New River, and definitely went to a lot of camping and whitewater rafting trips on the New River Gorge there in West Virginia, West by God, Virginia. But I did not know until you brought to my attention that Bectel was involved in that new jamboree site they got down there, right in the mix of where they've been building underground facilities for about 100 years.
Right, and they donated $50 million. You know, they
creepy dude
put up some cash for this. So
yeah, those underground tunnels are no joke.
Yeah, when you consider the Presidio involved, come on, dude.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
No way, that's Janet Reno, dude. That's actually Janet Reno. That's not Will Ferrell. I'm joking. Obviously.
Yeah,
that's
the butcher of Waco, Janet Reno.
The butcher of Waco. So, I think it is on these matters. I think one of the things besides the transpocalypse is coming to light in our society these days. One thing I've noticed that's coming to light is the fact that a lot of these things have been prevalent for many years and plaguing our society. And one thing is this idea that you can be a philanthropist, right? Where I call full-on rapist. And that suddenly you're looked in a different light. Like, that man can't be pure evil. He's a philanthropist. And I would argue folks are describing that incorrectly. It's actually pronounced full-on rapist. Matters of being a good Samaritan, like, oh, I'm just a good Samaritan. So I don't know if you're all familiar with what is that, sir?
Adam Weishaupt called himself as well a philanthropist.
There you go. Full-on rapist indeed, right there. Good example. So I don't know if you all are familiar with the matters of Eddie Murphy and the scandals that he got involved in there in the 90s, where he got kind of thrown out of Hollywood over that. But before we get into that further, let me play you a clip on it.
And I'm not gay, and I'm not, and that's what's weird about this, to have your sexuality question and your moral fiber question and all that, when all I was doing was trying to be nice to somebody.
Eddie Murphy tells E.T. that his wife and children were out of town, says he wanted something to read and went to a late-night newsstand. He stopped here and picked up the suspected transsexual at 4:45 in the morning. He says he thought he was aiding a distraught woman.
Looks like a pretty Hawaiian girl in the corner crying. It looks like she was crying. She goes, oh, Eddie Murphy. She noticed him at the light. She recognized Eddie Murphy. Oh, my God. So I go, what are you doing? Why are you out here working the streets so late? She goes, oh, I'm on my way home. Can you give me a ride home?
Police tailed them for 2 miles before pulling him over. Police.
Classic. Oh, this is a friendly old gal. I'm just a good Samaritan. I said, whoops, how did my dick end up in this pretty young gal that turned out to be a guy? And that's basically his story, right? Because they followed him. And they were
sticking to it.
I always assume when they bust these Hollywood folks, the reports we do get are like a shit-coded version of what was really going on. I'm assuming he was getting there was some intercourse going on, I'm assuming, when they pulled over 2 miles down the road. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's super strange that this whole Hollywood crowd's like this.
Well, it is super strange. And you know who really uncovered that entire scandal was none other than Andrew Breitbart.
Oh wow!
Before he was into politics,
that's O'Keefe's boy, right?
What's that?
That's O'Keefe's boy, right? James O'Keefe.
He's the one who first, he launched the career of James O'Keefe. Him and Steve Bannon, the guy who runs around telling everybody that Trump is the modern day Cincinnatus.
He's dead. He's dead, right? Right.
Who's dead? Cincinnatus? Yeah, dude, he died like 484 BC.
Andrew Breitbart.
Yeah, it's famous.
He died kind of weird too, right?
He died extremely weird shortly after he had dinner with Bill Ayers and Bernadette Dorn.
What year was that? 2013.
Yeah. So, I'm glad I'll get off on this tangent because I don't mind talking about the process, because the Weather Underground is part of them. Just read Bill Ayers and Bernadette Dorn's books and their own statements. They professed a love affair of Sirhan, old double Sirhan process, and Charles Manson process. So, amongst many, many other things. But nonetheless, the dinner that you're talking about. So I think he dies in February. I think he does have a heart attack while walking home from a restaurant, I believe, in Los Angeles. Their hometown, Breitbart, that is. And this is shortly after he made numerous public declarations that John Podesta was a child sex trafficker cover-upper.
Okay.
And
that sounds right.
And on top of that, Mr. CIA, Iran-Contra, the guy who's seen in photographs with the Nicaraguan rebels and his own AK-47 during the matters of Iran-Contra down there in Nicaragua and funding those rebels. Tucker Carlson apparently gets, this is the story, he bids at a silent auction for dinner with Bernadette Dorn and Bill Ayers, the founders of the Weather Underground, at their home in Chicago. And he invites, Clint, I think I'm getting a little bit of feedback on your end, bud.
Sorry, let me turn my thing down a little bit.
Yes, sir. And he invites Andrew Breitbart, and there's a third party with him. I'll find the photograph. But this happens a few months before Breitbart suddenly dies.
Right.
So,
weren't they involved too? Bannon was involved over there with the
Bannon's involved in everything, dude. If you look at it.
Well, he's got that place over there in Rome, right? It's like a scholarly. Well, I mean, it's kind of like a newer age of the Opus Dei, right? Or the what's it called? I'll pull it up. I was researching it not too long ago.
Well, on the matters of Andrew Breitbart and Eddie Murphy, so Andrew Breitbart used to run a site before he got. So he's really the godfather, if you will, of the current. You know how they claim like Bill Park. I don't really do football that much anymore, but years ago, you have these charts of the original coaches and all the coaches that came up from under them and stuff, and their little coaching trees. You could do that with Breitbart and conservative politics. So Steven Crowder, James O'Keefe, as you pointed out, Laura Loomer, all of these people come from. I think Ben Shapiro was his entertainment attorney, if I'm not mistaken. He definitely worked there at Breitbart in some capacity there in an attorney role before he became a public figure. Right. So he starts with Big Hollywood, though, and a fellow by the name of Mark Abner, and they start attacking all these, scandals and writing about these, doing investigative journalism on these scandals, and they did Scientology in the late 90s as well.
Okay. Oh, yeah. I can't think of what, there was some kind of mainstream thing Breitbart was involved with. I can't remember what it was called. I mean, I remember reading Breitbart, but like, I probably should have smoked so much weed.
Well, it's funny. It's funny in consideration of these matters because, like I was saying before, these larger kind of networks we don't immediately see on the surface, but these folks definitely know each other. So you see Breitbart spanning the spectrum of kind of society. Same with Bannon, dude. Bannon used to be a business partner with David Geffen.
Weren't they doing porn and shit over there in Japan?
Yeah, dude. They had something called Digital Entertainment Network. It was like a pre-YouTube. Bunch of young boys, right? A bunch of young boys. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, the other business partner there, a fellow by the name of Mark Richter. Mark Allen Richter, I believe.
That name sounds familiar too.
So he was the other business partner with Bannon and David Geffen. David Geffen's like the devil of all music, right? He got locked in that Laurel Canyon scene with the Laurel Canyon bands, and he's all the way through like Michael Jackson and whatnot, right? That
was a good episode the other day.
So you see the boyfriend of that Mark Collins Rector fella, Mark Collins Rectum, who I think is still wanted, if I'm not mistaken, with warrants and is fled overseas still to this day. Rectum, that is, damn near killed him. But his boyfriend, Brock Pierce, the guy who played the young Emilio Estevez in the film Mighty Ducks, he's Steve Bannon's. He was Steve Bannon's guest.
This messed up, man.
Collins Rector's underage boyfriend and child actor at the time when they're running this digital entertainment network where they're just raping young boys, it turns out. Right. And it's all these crypto people are associated with the same circles right here, including Brock Pierce. He's a major figure in Tether and other crypto stuff. And he was Steve Bannon's guest at the inauguration this past year. Steve Bannon's everywhere, man.
Hey, can I interrupt?
Please do.
If you bring up the link that actually I'm not presenting because my fucking Wi-Fi cut out. So give me a second here. I got my Wi-Fi, my mobile hotspot, but I just want to bring this up here because as soon as Landon brought up the Bectel, so there's this corporation here, and I'm just going to bring it friend. Now it's really interesting because it's the Parsons Corporation. Now isn't that a cool name? I haven't been able to get back to Jack Parsons. Obviously, it's a Anyways, it says multinational technology-focused defense, intelligence, and infrastructure engineering, founded in 1944. Now, it's really funny because when Landon brought up Bectel, I had to just go ahead because, I remember that they're directly tied to Bectel, but it's, so it says here, it's not really syncing up, but it says down in the bottom under, it says, joint business.
You're coming a little bit broken, sir. Jonah,
sorry, it says
you're coming a little bit broken, sir.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, I'm out in the country, and I'm on hotspot only. So.
Much better. Much better. I just couldn't hear you.
Wow, May Bressel talked about Bectel.
It says that a joint venture led by Bectel National and Parsons Corporation was selected to destroy chemical weapons at the Bluegrass Army Depot in Kentucky. So that's really super interesting. But then you go back to Ralph M. Parsons, and I'll switch screens on what I'm sharing because if you click on Ralph M. Parsons, he was the founder, right? So he started the Parsons Corporation.
No shit, dude. I apologize. May I interject? The CEO of this corporation was on the plane that Ron Brown was murdered on over there in Kosovo when Hillary Clinton was at the same airport, the same location at the same time. No shit.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
But he started this company with the Bectel and John A. McCone, who, and if I'm not mistaken, was John F. Kennedy's head of the Central Intelligence Agency. It's so if you click on the Ralph M. Parsons link there in that bug, so it's not really sharing correctly on my end.
Oh no, that's my fault. I'm the one doing that one. I'm just sharing on mine. But if I may, sir, that's blowing up my brain hole. That dude had 2 bullet holes in the back of his head, according to the Air Force report on such matter, because it was an Air Force plane. Yeah. He was the Commerce Secretary, and who was with Hillary Clinton at that airport doing business over there. What the commerce they were doing, and took a different plane. The Enron executives.
Oh yeah.
But again, I was just pointing out that Bectel started his company in. Bectel started the company Parsons Corporation in 1944 during World War II with Norman M. Parsons and John A. McCone, and that's McCone, who was John F. Kennedy's head of the Central Intelligence Agency. So there's something for you to dig into there, Landon. I don't know what you're going down on that rabbit hole, but super interesting that you bring up that name. I tied it back to Parsons, tied directly to Jack Parsons. Even if it's not Jack Parsons directly, it seems like it comes up a lot. So LA family, right?
I'll go ahead and take care of that genealogy for you, sir. I appreciate you bringing that to my brain hole, because the Parsons family, yes, while Jack Parsons is a major figure, they have numerous representation in the Society of Cincinnati out of the Massachusetts chapter, including Jack Parsons' forefather. And they're deeply involved in the Salem witch trials, the Parsons.
Okay, that's crazy.
Yeah, the Salem witch trials is crazy.
I have that to share there in the chat, JJ, if you want to show it real quick. It was just okay, so this is Gregory Green. This is the Oakland County child killing pertaining to North Fox Island up there in Michigan. But tell me that this guy does not look like Philip Arthur Thompson from...
he looks exactly like Philip Arthur Thompson. I thought this was Philip Arthur Thompson.
Did you really?
It kind of looks like him at first glance. I couldn't read the name underneath it. So
let me show you this. So that's Philip Arthur Thompson there. I wish I had a side by side.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Why don't you pop into the private chat and I'll put him up on my end.
Okay. Let me show you.
And while you're doing that, we'll play my in regards to all these networks, right? In regards to the Process Church, this will clip us in there as well regarding Eddie Murphy and those matters of the Transpocalypse situations. Joey, if you're familiar with Joe Rogan's buddy, Joey Diaz, the man who made Joey Diaz's career, Joe Rogan there. Joey Diaz famously has told stories over the years of being the cocaine drug mule for Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown. And he mentions hanging out with him in this clip in 1997. And I just want to provide, that's the context of why Joey Diaz is hanging out with Bobby Brown and Whitney Houston in 1997.
Okay.
It was 1997, and at Fox Sports, there were three sisters like yourself from Atlanta, the South, and they all worked in different divisions of Fox. But when they got together, the black came out, and they would talk the black gossip of the community. And you know, they started talking about Eddie Murphy being gay, and Will Smith is gay, and you know,
I don't believe any of that, but anyway.
Freaking, although, bro, these people had paperwork. You know those type of sisters. They were in the business. They were going to these parties. They were in the know. When they first told me about Eddie Murphy, there was somebody else they told me about that I almost shit my fucking pants. And then one night I was at the store, and Eddie Murphy was there with Paul Mooney, Arsenio Hall, and the singer, the black singer from the Whitney Houston's husband's band.
Bobby Brown.
What's the other singer in that
New
band?
Edition, Johnny Gill.
He was a Johnny Gill, and Richard Pryor's manager was up there drinking with a fucking. He used to get fucked up there. I forget what his name is. And I was standing there with a couple other comics, and he looked at me and goes, "Cuba, you want to see me rattle these motherfuckers? Watch this." He walked up to him and he goes, "Hey, so when are you motherfuckers gonna do the Queens of Comedy tour?" And they just fucking split, dog. At this time, when I had heard all this shit, it was mind-boggling. And then
That's pretty crazy.
What are your thoughts?
Do you think? I mean, was the Comedy Store? Was this the lit end of the CIA? I mean, once you're in the Comedy Store, you're in that scene, right? You're part of.
Well, I think it exhibits that, right? We see these crossovers. We see Fox Sports executives from different. So this is back when they had regional Fox Sports, outlets, and so we see that he knows them. Why does he know them, right?
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's kind of weird.
We see them mixing with Bobby Brown, Whitney Houston, right? We see them mixing with Eddie Murphy, Arsenio Hall, and then again the whole Queens of Comedy thing. So when he says Richard Pryor's manager, I think what he, cocaine's a hell of a drug. So I think what Joey Diaz really means was Paul Mooney, which was like his Richard Pryor's best friend and writer, and Richard Pryor Jr., the son of the comedian Richard Pryor, famously today tells stories of how Paul Mooney raped him as a child.
Really?
Yeah.
It's fucked up.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hollywood. More and more, I just don't even want to watch TV.
Yeah, dude. But is it just Hollywood? Because as we see, they literally all these folks know each other, right?
Yeah, it's crazy how interconnected they are too, right?
Right. Well, that's the octopus. One of your favorite subjects. To try for anyone first learning about Michael Riconosciuto, Danger Man, the octopus, Promise Software, Cabazon Indian, long before they can ever learn about biological warfare that's going on around those matters, you got to wrap your brain hole around the context of the situation of this octopus. And it is the intermingling of all these different, what we seem on its surface as varying sectors of society, but I don't think so. Drug, sex, and rock and roll seems to correlate amongst all these sectors. With Bobby Brown and Whitney Houston, for example, they rented their mansion in Atlanta from a man known as Michael Thieves, one of the most prolific child pornographers in America, and the boss of Wayne Williams, the quote-unquote Atlanta child killer, despite never being convicted of one single child killing.
Oh,
that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's the pop scene.
That's the process.
The pop scene is very
new
dark.
Charles Manson. That's the process. Yes, sir.
Yeah, because I mean, Charles Manson, he was in the pop scene basically. He was with the Beach Boys, and it's all like the pop scene is the most satanic, disgusting.
They're all Satanists, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, to the roots of it, especially these guys right here, right? This is you want to share the Philip Arthur Thompson.
Did you see me the links? Oh, my bad.
Well, I got one in the chat, and then I have the other one pulled up if you want to. Can we dual screen it or no?
So this guy's supposed to be named Gregory Green, huh?
Yeah, this is one of the alleged Oakland County child killers for North Fox Island. But I just thought he looked
County, Michigan, right? Just to make the differentiation for folks.
Right. He looks like Philip Arthur Thompson. And I just think back to your whole what was his name? The guy who done the murders out there in California that wore the hood. What was his name?
Oh, dude, Edward Wynn Edwards, dude.
Edward Edwards, yeah, kind of the
Dude,
same situation, right?
he most certainly knows Philip Arthur Thompson, in my opinion, sir. But I'm working on those intersections still. Please continue.
Right, and if you take a picture, I mean, if you share my screen, then show him what Philip. Yeah, there you go. So those two look very eerily similar.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. I couldn't read the name when you first put it up. I thought that was Philip Arthur Thompson. They look identical to me.
Right. It's kind of creepy. And I was kind of scrolling over that today. I said, that dude looked familiar because I was doing some work on North Fox Island. I was like, that dude looks so familiar, man. I was like, that's freaking the guy from the Octopus. That's Philip Arthur Thompson.
It does look like him.
CIA hitman.
Camera 1, camera 2.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird,
They look like the same guy or like identical twins or brothers.
When you say he's like Edward Wynn Edwards, well, let's look at who Ed is. Ed was a satanic serial killer. Colby's Queers, RR, please chime in. RR channel, please wash the balls of Bill Colby, please, now when I say these things. Bill Colby's Queers come home with the Phoenix program in Gladio, terrorism, satanic murder, Inc. And, Edward Wynn Edwards thrived in that industry and network. These things that these folks all know each other below the surface of our regular society and these regular narratives that are sold to us in propaganda fashion. And I don't discount that Ed would have known somebody like that because he fits the same mold as Philip Arthur Thompson, a CIA hitman of a satanic variety.
Right.
CIA. In terms of by his own book, I believe him because the indications or the activities of his life indicate such, exhibited by being in Key West, Florida in November of 1955, being issued an identity known as Dr. James Garfield Langley. And these CIA unintelligence agencies are a bunch of let's see. They lack creativity. How about we put it that way? Despite being from Yale in their origin stories and being all literary majors, they lack creativity. And issuing Ed the identity of Dr. James Garfield like the president and Langley like CIA headquarters, that sounds about right for those idiots. So
right, handed.
What's that?
I was just going to add, just being handed everything in life, that also is a non-breeding ground for creativity, right? You don't have to go through anything. So,
that's the perfect candidate. Silver spoons. But you see, with Ed, CIA is plotting the Batista takeover of Cuba, regime takeover there with old Fidel Castro, the SAG card-carrying actor from Los Angeles, whose sister worked for the CIA. That Fidel Castro, the father of Justin Trudeau, if you will. So you see him, Ed's down there at the same time. Ed says in his book, he's CIA. Ed gets out of so many murders, robberies, arsons, etc. Well, you have to ask, was Ed telling the truth about that at least, right? And Philip Arthur Thompson, you can correct me there as well. He was pretty prolific, not just in murder, but other criminal activities, right?
Same thing. Yeah, he's big into the drug game. They alleged that was kind of the part of his murder. I'm pulling it up now.
Oh yeah.
Well, in the 2000s, he was arrested several times, but he was a part of the Sweetheart murders.
Key West is classic mafia location. They're the ones that built that road that goes down there. They're running
Paul
a huge
Marasco.
operation.
That was Riconosciuto's best friend. That's who Philip Arthur Thompson allegedly done the hit on there in San Francisco. That's what I was thinking of. So yeah, makes sense.
No, you're right,
Clint.
I like where both your gents' brain holes are at. With Key West, though, sir, it turns out literally every takeover of Cuba from the Spanish dating back to the Spanish-American War has been plotted out in Key West, Florida.
Yeah,
it's weird.
They're probably some Knights of Malta mafia right up in there somewhere.
Wouldn't be surprised. Would not be surprised at all, sir. No, not even a little bit.
Now you're getting back into the Bannon ground, right?
Well, let's. He's everywhere. And while you're saying that, I found that picture, even though it's slightly distorted because you can't find the original image, and the article from the Chicagoist is now gone. But you'll see Andrew Breitbart, undisclosed third party, I don't remember his name, and Tucker Carlson, because he's the one who got the one of these two guys bid on the silent auction, and they did it together to have this dinner with Bill Ayers and Bernadette Dorn at their home in Chicago. The founders of the Weather Underground. Now, they would raise a fella who in recent years was the district attorney of San Francisco. One Chesa Boudin was their adopted son, raised by these two communist, domestic terrorists. And, Bill Ayers is son of the head of the Chicago Power Company, speaking of silver spoons. So, Chesa Boudin would famously allow everyone to shit all over the sidewalk in San Francisco in lack of enforcement of all laws and get run out of office. But he's a weather undergrounder. These folks infiltrate our government. That's what they like to do. They tell you in their own writings that's what they like to do. But so that's what I'm saying. These are dangerous folks to suddenly go have dinner with them and suddenly drop dead on Andrew Breitbart's part. Andrew Breitbart's part. There we go. And again, this is after he declared John Podesta a world-class child sex trafficker cover-upper publicly numerous times. It's a marked man you saw there, right there, Andrew. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. I'm not saying I presume his end games or he was being, he's morally, ethically correct in any of his activities. What I'm saying is, he was writing a lot of subjects, and I think he's pissed off the wrong people.
Right.
Yeah.
That's usually kind of how we define these journalists, right? JJ, good journalists wind up dead. That seems to be the case. If you're still living, you're not pushing the right doors.
Well, let's look at that note, sir. I was just doing a Smells Like Laurel Canyon series this past Sundays, where I compare the grunge countercultural movement through the lens of Dave McGowan's Weird Scenes Inside the Canyon. And in regards to what you just said there, would you believe the first bassist for Soundgarden and Nirvana would quit right at the cusp of Smells Like Teen Spirit going worldwide, and suddenly they're the biggest thing in the world, bigger than Michael Jackson, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, etc. Right? Nirvana was huge in '91. Well, dude leaves to go join the Green Berets, and months before they became global. And when he got out of the Green Berets, his name's Jason Everman. Gets out of the Green Berets. Stanley McChrystal, former 3-star general in charge of SOCOM, Special Operations Command there, he wrote him a letter of recommendation for a number of things, it appears. But Stanley McChrystal, as you're saying, is famously the guy who was who had that reporter embedded on his team over there in Afghanistan for 6 months, who published a very negative story about McChrystal that got him fired by Obama. He was talking shit about Obama. Dude published it, and then suddenly his car decided to operate like a missile and run into a tree out there in Los Angeles, where the engine, I believe, landed about 2 blocks down the road.
That's Michael Hastings, right?
That is Michael Hastings, yes, sir.
I bet you somebody drove behind him and pushed his car.
No, and by all reports, and there was even videos at the time, it looked like it was a giant, like his car suddenly sped up, crashed, right? And it looked like somebody. No, I don't think it was a Tesla, but this was before the Snowden leaks that everyone knew that they could do fly-by-wire and hack folks' cars.
Yeah, they hack cars for sure.
Wasn't Isaac Cappy saying that shit too?
Well, I'm just saying, you're saying the good journalists are dead, and I'm saying this dude wrote some good pieces there. Again, I'm not commenting on any opinions on his politics or otherwise, but when you're doing a bunch of hood rat shit in these special operations commands, which is what we see with Bill Colby and his ball washing communities of the Phoenix program, Operation Gladio, etc. McChrystal's firmly within that network. Where he falls in the Iran-Contra mix, he was certainly there. You know what I mean? So again, it's the same network of folks, right? What's that?
Wasn't Aquino tied in with the Green Berets, right?
He was a Green Beret. That's what I'm saying. It's the same network of folks as Bill Colby's ball washers and his queers, right?
And that's your
the ball washers, the folks who are trying to cover up the Bill Colby's queer stuff, and then we got Bill Colby's ball washers and whatnot there. But anyway, we see him in 2010. He got an award for the Runaway General, a Rolling Stone profile of General Stanley McChrystal, commander of NATO's International Security Assistance Force in Afghanistan at that time. There you go, Clint. We all work for the UN now and NATO.
What was the transgender's name, JJ?
Well, you mean the one that went trans later?
Yeah. What's that dude or woman's?
Yeah,
name?
Chelsea Manning is what it went by later. I believe it was Bradley.
That was
Manning.
part of the Snowden ordeal, right?
Well, it was rolled out as these things always go like that. I'm glad you said that. They always go like that. For example, everyone points to Daniel Ellsberg and the Pentagon Papers as being legitimate. I'm like, wait a second. The guy that worked for Edward Lansdale, Bill Colby's, essentially his, and Michael Aquino's mentor, if you will, Ed Lansdale, as far as psychological operations in the Green Berets go, and who worked closely with Bill Colby in Vietnam at the U.S. State Department in CIA matters, where Aquino directly reported to both of them. I believe is how the actual story goes there. But this guy who suddenly leaks all these Pentagon Papers and the whole Watergate situation, he works for Lansdale, dude. What are we talking about? You know what I mean? Bradley Manning was the little twink for some general dude, and we'll let him take the heat. Where's he at today? He's gotten transgendered surgery, probably funded by our taxpayer money, right?
I wonder if he was a part of
we're sold a narrative, though, right? We're sold a narrative. It's false narrative, right? But they take care of these people, their own people, in these narratives and these propaganda campaigns.
For sure.
Go ahead, sir.
What do you think that was kind of introducing us into this whole transgender movement, right? Maybe that was a psyop in itself.
I mean,
it's possible, the whole Chelsea
right?
Manning's thing.
Well, I'm glad you said that. So what we are sobbed. I mean, I like where your brain hole's at. We are sobbed on these matters heavily. That is a very good point. Maybe like this Dylan Mulvaney individual who's got some interesting ancestry. Maybe they're paid off, because that person was most certainly paid off to do these things in a psychological operations fashion, right? So that's a very good point you bring up. Yep. And on that note, let's take a look at Irvin Magic Johnson, NBA superstar, legend, and entrepreneur, and his gorgeous young daughter.
Yeah, they're trying to pacify the masses. That's what's happening, because they want us all to surrender when they finally burn our flag and place their communist flag.
What are your thoughts on this beautiful young gal right here?
Magic Johnson's fucking
dude. That's Magic Johnson Jr., dude. Irvin Jr. right there, and it went trans. And you want to tell me, like, so again, this is a very popular thing amongst not even Hollywood, but NBA players, Dwayne Wade, and
I was going to say that.
Hey. First off, I mean, I would intentionally hang out with Dwayne Wade's daughter if I got to bang fucking Gabrielle Union. Just saying.
Well, you're assuming that maybe that's. I don't assume that's the biological mother of that individual. When we see this trans thing, I think it's generational, right?
It's not the biological mother, sure. But I'm just saying she's the wife.
Right, but what I'm getting at is maybe that's a dude. You know what I mean?
So, Gabby Union? Or this one?
I question all of them, sir, at this point. I don't want to see their genitalia. I'm just saying this is a weird cult. It seems to permeate through culture, NBA, business, right? It's not even just the Hollywood portions, right?
Yeah.
So, but also, we're about to play one of my favorite games here in a moment. But on that note, hold that thought here with this transgendered apocalypse, because I got ourselves a quick halftime intermission.
Does crack cocaine make you act any differently? No. Is it safer than alcohol? Probably. People think of crack as being dirty. It's the exact opposite.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Oh, the only difference between crack cocaine and cocaine is sodium bicarbonate and water and heat, literally.
That's it?
That's it.
And those things are pretty much free if you go to like a science store.
This is free. You can go to your neighborhood convenience store and just get. Anyway, I don't want to tell people how to make crack cocaine, but it literally is a mayonnaise jar, cocaine, and baking soda.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
When you make crack, what you're doing is you're burning off all the impurities so that it combines with the sodium bicarbonate, which makes it smokable. That's all. You know, all of these actors and, people in the past that talked about they had a problem with cocaine and freebasing. They were smoking crack.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Anyway, my point about it, your point about it, which I think is true, is that there's a thing about crack.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug, gents. I didn't know if you all folks, the interwebs, gentlemen, I didn't know if you all realized you're going to learn how to make crack tonight from future presidential candidate Hunter Biden. You may be thinking that's ridiculous, but he's already putting his name out there and claiming he's going to run for president. So,
him and Master P were hanging out making crack.
He's got my vote, man.
Dude, I mean, like, the one thing I can say about the man, he is dedicated, much like our channel is dedicated to washing the balls of Bill Colby in my chat all the time. And I'm very motivated by your dedication there, RR, sir, ma'am. I appreciate it. Anyhow, the Hunter loves making some crack, dude. That's his thing, dude. He loves some crack.
I gotta
Did you see his eyes light up, dude? He's like, I'm going to tell you how to make crack, but I'm going to tell you how to make crack instead. You know what I mean?
Yeah, what they're doing basically is separating the oils from the.
Well, I don't want to get into the mechanics of it, sir. I don't want to get into the mechanics.
Oh,
of it. We don't need to tell people how to make crack, but I mean, it is.
Again,
I've got a pharmacy technician degree.
Biggie had the 10 crack commandments, right, where he told everyone how to make it, right?
Did he really?
Yeah,
I did not know.
I think that was the one. I think that was that one. It might have been a different song. I don't know. I don't listen to music anymore. It's all fucking brainwashed shit from Tavistock and fucking Rand. But
speaking of crackheads, JJ.
Well, speaking of Tavistock, go ahead, sir.
Well,
no, I have a quick clip to show you. Speaking of crackheads.
Oh, perfect.
Oh yeah. Speaking of
Rob Ford. Oh man, I thought it was Rob Ford, dude. My spirit animal, former mayor of Toronto, Rob Ford.
Can you hear that?
Oh fuck.
Urging in Louisiana. Woke leaders blame the police. I blame the criminals. A mom should not have to look over her shoulder when she's pumping gas. I voted against the early release of violent criminals, and I opposed defunding the police. Look, if you hate cops just because they're cops, the next time you get in trouble, call a crackhead. I'm John Kennedy.
What the fuck?
That's my intro, JJ, to my Senator Kennedy.
That's pretty funny. I'm gonna be honest with you, that dude's got some skeletons in the closet, or they call in Louisiana down there some skeletons in the closet.
In a bowl.
Well, I wanted to bring up the first person to sell crack, which is Delray Uzi Edwards. He was sentenced, 7 consecutive life terms plus 15 years, fined $1 million. He was the head of the largest, most efficient Jamaican drug distributorship in the U.S., although his ring was based in the Bedford Stuyvesant area in Brooklyn, New York, where he first began selling crack cocaine and marijuana in 1985. He operated in Washington, Baltimore, Philadelphia as well. Basically, the peak of his organization is making 100 G's a day. And one of the guys that ratted on him, he boiled him alive. And fucking that. I'm not gonna read the whole thing.
Did he boil him alive and turn him into crack? Because that's what Hunter Biden would have done.
Well, it's funny because it was on the back of this old mixtape that I got.
Nice. Did he have a PhD in crack? Because if not, Hunter Biden can hook him up, I think.
Well, I think he was working for the. Government. I mean, he started in Washington D.C. Fucking in Baltimore.
Dude, I want a Hunter Biden painting for the show.
Well,
if I had one, I would put it up behind me. I really.
If I may get us back to these matters in hand here, sir. Tavistock recently was ordered by the highest court in the UK, to stop transition surgeries. They are the ones who were starting to perpetrate in our modern incarnations, at least. The trans surgeries came to us from the Tavistock. You know, the folks that brought us the Grateful Dead and the Beatles. And the process, social turbulence.
Yeah, they're doing some crazy shit. That's for sure.
So let's just look here at Mr. Irvin Magic Johnson and Irvin Magic Johnson Jr. Happy birthday to my son, Irv. Are you fucking kidding me, dude?
Yeah, I used to like Magic Johnson when I was a kid. I thought he was the coolest basketball player.
Well, but this is my point about nihilism, dude. We're looking at an obvious man who looks exactly like him. We don't have to ask who is his daddy and what does he do. We can look at it, right? That is obviously Magic Johnson's son. That is Irvin Jr., right? Look at the smile, the eyes, and everything. And it's bald. That's a wig, obviously. If it didn't have the wig on, you'd be like, oh, shit, that's Irv, dude. What's up, Irv? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, we can see this as a fucking demonic clown from transgendered world, the Transpocalypse, right?
Yep.
Beatles not to, thank you for always proving my point, RR. Thank you very much. Beatles not to have a stock. That is funny, not for the reasons you probably think it is, but the matter at hand here. Look, we see these matters. We're like, yeah, he's even calling it his son. So we're the end. This is what I mean by nihilism. This is the end of any definitions, right? We don't have definitions, and there is no anything anymore. It's all fucking relative.
It's demoralization.
There you go. It's demoralization, yes, sir, and it's also the secular humanism that Clint was referring to earlier, right?
Yeah, it's always multifaceted with these agendas, right? Clint,
situational ethics. It's to destroy any tradition of America.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing. I mean, that's what the communists have set out to do for quite some time. They've had 50-year programs to re-educate America. They go so far to whereas they've got people brainwashed that the fucking Pledge of Allegiance was pro-America when it was made by communists. That they've got
made by communists, and it started off with the old Heil Hitler salute, did it not? That was the old, instead of over the heart, right? They're like, oh, let's sig heil this situation.
Yeah, the Roman salute. There was eugenics going on in America in the 30s. This subversive cult of theosophists that created the UN was this is where all this is stemming from, because they wanted to make these they wanted to quote unquote return mankind to the quote Garden of Eden, and so that in this Garden of
we're about to get biblical in here, dude. We getting pre-biblical? What are we doing here?
Well, so in their religion, their Garden of Eden, the people in it consist of those who do not know sex, basically, and that this is so this is all a giant class system of different consciousness evolutions according to their cult. They
love hippies.
They claim that they are quote evolving mankind, not just his mind but also his body. And the culture.
Well, it's the new human, right? That's what we see with all of these ancient alien cargo cult bastards, from Scientology to Theosophy, etc. They're all talking about Homo novus or some other iteration of that same bullshit.
Yeah, the quote unquote new man. The new man is the new man is not a man. I mean,
unless you're talking about Irvin Magic Johnson Jr., that, sir, is a man. I'll bring up another photo if you don't believe me. That is a dude.
Well, I mean,
Neuralink connection.
It's the passive. They're trying to pacify us because they're going to disarm us. And they're 72,
oh, my bad.
77.
That's the beautiful Janet Reno. I apologize, sir. Please continue.
The Department of Publication 7277. The Russians. I found in the congressional records. The Russians. They're not disarming, but our country's disarming. We're paying all this money to the UN, but Russia's not paying the money. And that all this shit. There's been Cooper does a whole episode.
No, you're right. No, go ahead. Please continue. No, you're right. Cooper was on all this UN stuff, and we all work for the UN now, so this is important.
Yeah. Well, he did a whole episode dedicated to numismatics and counting how many $100 bills were in the USSR versus the United States, and that somebody had given the Soviets printing plates to print money, and that they were funding. William Casey's the biggest open person in the book, where it's like he shines out like a fucking lighthouse because he's a fucking Knights of Malta CIA head and fucking made that Kama River factory for the UN. That's fucking
and he famously is quoted, and I'm paraphrasing, and our channel can ball wash this guy too, like Bill Colby. And Casey said when he was the CIA director for Reagan, he said, our mission will be successful when the American public doesn't know fucking up from down. Right. I'm obviously butchering the phrase, and I'll look it up here in a second, but that's a great point. And I think I think that's where we're at these days in American society and discourse, and especially when we got folks like our channel dedicated to washing the balls of these folks that have terrorized our nation, completely eradicated liberty and freedom in this country, and the disastrous results that have resulted. Their actions have resulted in a very disastrous manner here, and we see that across our society, not just in like one small sector, right? let's just look at the economy, dude. I mean, shit, even just a few years ago was a quarter of the expense or half the expense it is now in every aspect of our economy.
Yeah. We're economic slaves for the New World Order.
Well, we all work for the UN now.
Tucker Carlson going over to Russia, right, and kind of putting on a show of how great Russia is. Are they seeding a narrative, for the
he's a tough guy to really pin down what he's up to. He's so spooky, dude, because he's just in every direction. Again, he was in Nicaragua with the freedom fighters of the CIA financed Iran-Contra freedom fighters.
I think what they're doing is they always just go along and try to pretend like we're all sovereign nations, but there's really no sovereignty whatsoever. They just want to hoist it up and make people believe that, we're independent sovereign nations, but Russia is part of the United States. The United States is the world government. That basically there is no constitution. That these they're just it's a real shit show.
You ain't kidding, dude. It is a real shit show in our post-meme world 2025. Jonas, sir, welcome back.
It's a big club and we ain't in it.
My mobile hotspot went out because I got a phone that I used that beat up, but it doesn't charge unless it's directly in the right spot, and I paid attention to that. So I might die again, but trying to keep an eye on it.
You had
no worries. You're coming a little bit weak and unreadable, sir. You can try to fix your mic, maybe get closer to it, perhaps. I'm not sure. I'm not a technical advisor, nor am I Janet Reno, the butcher of Waco. Go ahead, Landon.
I just want to say, you think of blackmail, right, as we know today, but you also got to realize, like, Patch Adams, for example, was doing dealings. He was teaching clowning over there in Russia during the Cold War. He was probably a CIA asset. He's pertaining to the finders. He was the finders' physician.
Thank you. I was gonna fill you in on that one, but appreciate it, sir. I like where your head's at as well. Your brain hole's always you're doing some good stuff there, sir. Again, the finders should only be known as a CIA operation, right? We shouldn't call them these abstract names. We should just say those CIA, because dude, Sidney Gottlieb happens to buy a goat farm down the road from the finders. Get out of town, dude.
Well, look who's in the Gazoon site up there with Patch Adams. That's in West Virginia. I was going to bring that into our show tonight for some West Virginia history, but
I think
money laundering.
We can definitely get into that here in a second, because I'll bring up this stuff about the finders.
Patch Adams is from Urbana, Illinois. So it's this Chicago Midwest crowd that we see at the epicenter of this blackmail regime, right? Through Gacy, all the mobsters. It's a blackmail, Pritzkers. There's another Chicago connection there too. Mobbed up to the teeth.
Well, I know you are in love with U.S. Army Colonel Jennifer Pritzker. We'll bring her up as well here in a second. If we can just table those thoughts for a second, fellas. I want to play my favorite game here on Operation GCD Fridays, and I do thank you, gents, for joining me here tonight to get a little GCD, and you folks of the interwebs. Also want to thank you again tonight for joining us to get a little GCD here. Once again, JJ Vance, not the vice president, host of Operation GCD. And my favorite game, who is your daddy and what does he do?
You tell me, who is your daddy and what does he do?
Dude, what a weird transition that individual's gone through over the years.
It's definitely it's creepy for sure.
Who is your daddy and what does he do?
Was it? Is that the daughter of OJ or the?
Well, I'll bring up the photo. So that is one Khloe Kardashian, as we're told. The very gorgeous Khloe Kardashian, right? Go ahead, Jonah. What were you saying?
I was going to say, or is she really Bruce's daughter?
Well, here's the deal. I don't know about that because let's look at some photos here. So this is her circa 2013, looking kind of like a linebacker, if you ask me. But who am I to say? Who am I to say? So, and here's Orenthal James Simpson addressing these rumors before he died. Right. So we have another photograph of Khloe Kardashian and one of her fathers, whoever the man is. So that's Robert Kardashian on the left there. Her alleged, her father on paper, Armenian fella. Him and Orenthal met, I believe, circa 1973 when he was scoring some touchdowns there, and old Bob here was in law school, I believe. And I do also believe they both joined Scientology around the same time, circa 1977. It seems we've seen here, and I'll pull it up if folks want to check that one out, where old Orenthal James Simpson himself is describing how he went clear. And that was in 1983 in an interview he gave. But we see this is his best friend. He introduces Kris Jenner to Bob Kardashian, or Chris, whatever her maiden name was, right? So
kind of weird. Kanye's connected to, right, to the whole Kardashian.
Well, let's be honest about the situation. So if we're talking trans stuff, I'm not going to go full trans here, but there's a lot of other trans stuff in the immediate Jenner orbit. For example, one of these Jenner girls, baby's daddies, not the Kardashian.
Oh, I think he froze.
Did I freeze up again? Oh, okay.
Or did I freeze?
I thought I might.
No, everybody's good as JJ.
I'm too stoned.
Am I back?
Yeah.
I thought my mobile hotspot went out again.
One of the. Go ahead, Jonah. I couldn't hear you, sir. What were you saying?
No, I was saying I thought my mobile hotspot went out again. I was like, "Fuck me, that's 6 not charged at all right now." But it's.
No, I think that was me. My gremlins acted up with Starlink. So, one of the baby daddies of the Jenner girls openly was dating a trans person, I guess woman, man. I don't know how it goes, whatever. This was a number of years ago because I did a podcast on Operation GCD 1.0. Bruce Jenner was entitled Bruce Jenner Legal Genius because he decided to go trans in order to avoid murder charges because he told the LA prosecutor basically, good luck charging Bruce for that manslaughter charge for hitting that lady on the Pacific Coast Highway and murking her. Good luck charging Bruce because my name's Caitlin now, bitches. Because they were going to charge him. And they suddenly couldn't charge him because how are you going to charge Bruce Jenner when this motherfucker's the sports person of the year and everything? You know what I mean? It went full trans to avoid murder charges. Didn't lop its dick off. That was a weird instance when Barbara Walters got offended by that. And he's like, why would I do that? You know? And we'll get into we'll go further down the trans rabbit hole with this whole network of Jenners and whatnot in a second. But and then he's he's a full-blown trans MAGA person, and his trans MAGA boyfriend / girlfriend, I think it was a male who grew up in Iowa who decided he was a lady and moved to California to live with Bruce. I think also was in the same kind of boat of not lopping shit off, but calling himself a woman. I don't know how these things work. I'm not the authority, nor do I care to be. I'm not the one who's defining these things, nor do I care to. But the Bruce's little trans side piece there just took a dive off of a Malibu cliff here in recent weeks. Died.
Whoa. Perhaps she was a witness to something.
You think, dude? She lived with Bruce for the last few years. Who's been the head of Trans MAGA, all these Trump events, Trans MAGA stuff with Laura Loomer, the Trans MAGA journalist, and then you have the fact that he's Orenthal James Simpson's buddy. Then you have the fact that he's the Kardashians folks and all the shit they're involved in. Dude, I'm sure that little trans sidekick of Bruce's has seen some weird shit.
What if Bruce Jenner is some kind of serial killer?
Dude, I mean, he's a.
He kind of looks like Arthur Thompson a little bit.
Better than old Bruce Jenner, dude. He's a gold. Here we go. I'm losing it here. He's a gold medal winning decathlete, right? Not just one event, right? He's doing 10 events, bud.
Yeah, so he could definitely kill somebody, probably.
Yeah, so when I say him and Orenthal James Simpson are tight, he's the one who got Orenthal James Simpson, Landon. You mentioned the Wheaties box. That's who got him on the Wheaties box with old OJ.
That's weird.
Yeah.
And let's just point out that decathlon could be like kind of what the fuck's it called now when words sound together, but dick cutoff. Decathlon, dick cutoff, you know. So that's kind of interesting.
What's that, sir? Decathletes have to get their dicks cut off. Is that a French rule?
No. I was just saying that. What's it called? Their alliteration, and they can kind of be same as far, you know what I mean. They're very similar in, but.
That sounds like a rule instituted by the French that perhaps Emmanuel Macron, the French president's man, husband, wife, father, lady, would have instituted.
And I apologize to everyone if I'm coming in and out, if my signal's going from like weak to strong to weak. So, and I'm living in the country. There's only a mobile hotspot on my phone.
Yeah, dude, trans mag is a thing, dude. Look up Laura Loomer trans. There used to be a dude at one of them schools and universities in Florida still living as a dude about 10, 12 years ago.
Wasn't Laura Loomer? She was just saying about the Epstein files, right? That was the whole.
Oh, dude, she's all over that now. She was over there dancing with the binders and stuff, dude. She's trans MAGA.
Trans MAGA. Get it trending.
Let's man, Laura Loomer, like, every once in a while she's put out a real story.
Oh, for sure. No, well, they have to, right? I mean, much like Bill Hicks / Alex Jones, you got to put out some real stuff, right?
Right.
But Bill Cooper
sell them 10 lies to give them one truth, right?
Well, you got to give them the old used car salesman routine, right? You can't come at them with this is a rusty bucket of shit. They're not going to buy it. So, in regards to old Bill Cooper, he had that right, Clint, back in '97, calling out Alex Jones as a fraud. Back in '97, and today, just last week, Alex Jones / Bill Hicks was claiming to do shit that he never did that Bill Cooper did. So, and Bill Cooper famously in June of 2001, and I'll tee it over to Clint here for the remainder of the story because I'm sure you're more familiar than I am. He had his broadcast Hour of the Time in June 2001. He told everybody that bin Laden was going to be pinned as a patsy in a future domestic terrorist event, right? Is that right?
Yeah. He
so
not
June,
only that,
right? June of 2001. Is that right?
Yeah. He went into it with the Bush and the bin Laden family later in a different episode where he outlined how they were hand in hand like fucking peanut butter and jelly.
Peanut butter jelly time.
They were fucking.
Can I jump in on this?
Dude, hop in, bud. Hop in.
Yeah, so I've always said, like, one of the things that gives away to me that Alex Jones, Bill Hicks is just a fucking fed up is, you know, and I didn't even realize this until recently. And I'm like, oh, what the fuck's this? Because Bill Cooper was actually murdered on November 5th. So that's kind of fucking weird because they murdered him on the Guy Fawkes Day. So I just found that odd as shit. But then, you know.
Well, hold on, sir. If I may interject, that is an interesting point. I do find that very odd. And according to RR channel, Bill Colby's ball washer, number one ball washer, Guy Fawkes was framed. There was no gunpowder. Please continue.
But I was just going to say that, you know, so that same fall was when Bill Hicks went to fucking Bohemian Grove, released the video. So they kill off Bill Cooper, you know, and then Bill Hicks is in. But again, too, if anyone was old enough to remember, and maybe not Landon, but if any of us are old enough to remember 2001, that was like VHS days, you know, like fucking on your shoulder shit. But
I was 1 year old.
Oh, you were 1 year old.
I had already been around the USA, but I'd already been around the USA or had to leave, you know, maybe not necessarily ran out, but I had to leave because the FBI was, you know, taking down the whole crew that I was running with at the time. But that's a whole different story.
What year was that at Bill Colby? Sorry.
Bill Cooper was 2001.
Bill Cooper.
Yeah.
What was it?
So today, right now, Bill Hicks / Alex Jones is telling everybody that he did that in June of 2001. And I know for a fact that Bill Cooper did that.
Yeah.
Well, I have another character that also. This is verified, JJ.
Well, this is a classic move. If I may, gents, this is a classic move of used car salesman psyops tomfoolery that we see in the likes of a fellow that Alex Jones hosted as a guest on numerous times on his Prison Planet back then and then InfoWars. none other than Ted Gunderson.
There's thousands of Americans out there. By the way, I've been shot with a laser beam twice.
Watch out, folks. COINTELPRO leader Ted Gunderson got hit twice with some laser.
Yeah, for all we know, he could still be alive.
Oh, he's a bitch. I got 4.
Dude, he may be the one with the lasers. Dude, maybe he shot himself. Classic
he got
false
the laser
flag.
and
He's a
then got
bitch.
some surgery.
So Bill Cooper calls it out in June of 2001, right?
Yeah, Cooper went on Alex Jones' show once or twice, and they had a formal discussion. And then Cooper started to talk about some real shit, and then Alex cut his mic. And then the next day, Alex Jones was like, "Oh, Cooper started swearing. I had to kick him off the air." And then Cooper fucking did an episode talking about what really happened, and fucking, it was just some fucking. I mean, if I was Cooper, I would have whooped the shit out of Alex Jones.
Well, I mean, it seems like, I don't want to be biased because Bill Cooper's father's middle name is Vance, so he probably gets the newsletter, Clint Vance newsletter. But Vance Air Force Base out in Oklahoma, right around where Cooper's from. That's I don't want to go full Vance here on y'all, but Clint Vance that is. But let's take a look here at Tucker Carlson, who's a heir to the Swanson meat fortune and apparently a Nicaraguan freedom fighter with the Iran-Contra folks. There you go.
And don't forget his dad's Dick Carlson.
Yeah, his dad was a dick.
But I call him Cucker. I don't call him Tucker. I invert the two, so I call him Cucker Carlson.
Oh,
yeah.
Here's a fun Transpocalypse tale with Dick Carlson. So in we'll call it circa 1972, Dick Carlson was a journalist for a San Diego news outlet. Let's call it the San Diego Tribune, and wrote an investigative piece on a new in town professional female tennis player who happened to formerly be a very shitty pro male tennis player in Long Island and then moved from coast to coast and became a woman and started competing and dominating in female tennis events. So Dick Carlson publishes an investigative report in these matters outing this individual as a dude. This was 1972 Transpocalypse. And for that, at least I salute Dick Carlson for that, but not for anything else.
Yeah, there's some weird stuff going on in Hollywood.
So, can I add to that 9/11 thing real quick?
Who you 9/11? Who you 9/11?
Yeah, I got it shared here.
Oh, my bad. Boom.
So this is Reconasciuto in February writing a letter from his jail pertaining to 9/11 or the Islamic Al-Qaeda. Supposedly, he says he knew a source that could handle all of the falsifying of documents, passports, of that such. But let me go back to here, and it says his attorney John Bailey that he had contact with someone inside the Islamic group called the Base, aka Al Qaeda. Said the group was currently in preparation for the attack in the United States, but not divulge specific details unless U.S. government granted immunity from prosecution to his sources. Basically, Reconasciuto was screaming bloody murder of this in February 2001, which I found very weird. So it seems to me that this was all on the streets of the intel community, that something was going down.
Well, I think that's a great point, sir, of what we were talking about earlier of how these things all interconnect and intertwine. And old Danger Man kind of sits at the center of all of those intersections, right?
Yeah. Well, it's an extension of it's basically the Fourth Reich. I mean, according to the Dr. Dennis Cuddy's research, he links the Nazis.
Time out, sir. Can you repeat that? You came in broken and unreadable. Kid Cudi, didn't he get blown up by P. Diddy?
No. Basically, it's the Fourth Reich. It's the Nazis. Dr. Dennis Cuddy, he documents that the Nazis were heavily connected to Al Qaeda, the Bin Ladens, and Bushes, and that
Muslim Brotherhood, sure,
yeah, that it was some kind of basically it was a New World Order hit on the building, that they probably owned the building also, the members of their coven.
Well,
I mean, that's what they are.
It sounds like Kid Cudi's uncle, Dennis Cuddy, makes some good points.
Is that really his uncle?
No, this is actually a dude. No, I just give Clint shit every time. It's just an ongoing joke I give Clint.
I was listening to Kid Cudi literally today, JJ, before the podcast. Well, that's crazy.
The reason I say that is because he literally testified in the P. Diddy trial that he got blown up by P. Diddy and no one gives a shit.
Well, supposedly he freaking Diddy goes into Kid Cudi's house and opens up the freaking Christmas presents. Like what the freak?
Yeah, he's a fucking psychopath, dude. And he blew up Kid Cudi's car, and no one batted an eye at it and said, "Oh, it's Diddy,
Freaking
guy's a nice
Molotov,
guy."
bro. Yeah, he threw a Molotov through it, and he had a dog. Kid Cudi had a dog that supposedly maybe got raped by Diddy.
Hey, allegedly.
He didn't throw a Molotov.
Dude, he said the dog was acting funny and stuff for a while. So I don't know. So they did something to that dog, bro.
Dude, they're always doing stuff to dogs, bro.
That's fucked up.
Can't beat his birds.
JJ.
Welcome in, sir. Welcome to the
That's
show
a funny
there.
coincidence, though. I was literally listening to Kid Cudi like 2 hours ago.
Yeah, they're
Hey, JJ.
Again, I just like to give Clint shit, but that dude, I've read some of the materials Clint has introduced me to via Kid Cudi's uncle, Dennis Cudi, and it's some interesting shit. He does some good work.
Yeah, it's definitely
And
Hey, JJ, can I bring back up that article?
folks of the interwebs can check that out over there on the Third World Assassin. Clint has educated me on some of those Cudi related subjects, not unrelated to firebombing rappers' cars. But Dick Carlson, 1975, KMFB TV in San Diego. Carlson is doing investigative work and calling out this lady / man known as Renee Richards. Right? This is the man / woman who decided was going to dominate female tennis in 1975 after being a very shitty male tennis player professionally on the West Coast or East Coast.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, I think that they were. She's probably connected to the Nazis or fucking these because that stuff on Mingler was just so fucked up that Dennis Cudi.
Hey, there it is. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that stuff.
Okay,
I speculate this all stems from Mingler, Joseph Mingler, and his insane science. The testing the limits of humanity, or yeah, I don't know how to pronounce people's names.
Well, there's no R in it, so. But
somebody said it looks like Melania.
Looks like we're doing some purging. If I may, fellas, looks like we're doing some purging with some Idaho 4 stuff for Kane B's later, perhaps. I may have to try to join you over there, sir. I appreciate you joining me here there, Kane B. MK Ultra, that is. What were you saying there, Landon?
Just somebody put it looks like Melania in the chat, Richard Raskin.
Well, again, I don't want to go full Transpocalypse tonight, but let's get back to the matters at hand here and talk about Transmaga, dude, right? Let's talk about let's do again. I make jokes about these things, but they have major figures in this, not just Bruce Jenner, Laura Loomers. They have another one, Blair White, which she's kind of underneath that same umbrella of Breitbart, if you want to look at things that way, this conservative media umbrella that has been produced by the likes of Breitbart years ago, and is again Steven Crowder. All these, most of the folks that anyone knows in conservative media is from that umbrella. That's under the age of 40. Right, circa the age of 40. And again, I'm not besmirching Breitbart or these activities. I'm just saying this is what's going on, and some of these people are clearly not being objectively honest about their circumstances in life. And I would dispute Transmaga's got some ulterior motives, don't you think? Blair White, is that her name? His name? It's their name. Well, I think that's I think I use the appropriate terminology for the United Nations. I will not be executed if I just say their name.
Yeah, I speculate that certain people that are huge, like such as Rahm Emanuel from Chicago, or such as
dude, that's the guy I was thinking of earlier. I couldn't think of my brain hole, dude. Thank you, Rahm Emanuel's father, B'nai B'rith, dude, big time B'nai B'rith, dude.
Yeah,
don't forget
Rahm Emanuel's brother, dude. Rahm Emanuel's brother runs Hollywood, sir.
Well, so his name though, they're the people's religion, his name and another person I want to bring up, Ram, what's his name, Polanski's wife, which I think could be a dude possibly, but that they both have similar names.
A man.
Well, that Ram Emanuel in Hebrew means Lamb of God, basically, or Ram of God, excuse me, and that the ram was opposed to the lamb, whereas like the Christians, quote unquote, worship the lamb, but the occultists worship the ram, and that the I can't remember the guy's fucking wife, Polanski's wife, but her name also has Emmanuel in it, and it's
Well, there's an
that one
Ari
too, but
Emmanuel brother.
Emmanuel Singer, which means blood of God, God of blood, or some shit. Like Emmanuel is God, and Singer is Latin for blood, like sangre in Spanish. And that the I speculate that some of their names are like deified ranks, possibly because they think that their children are born into some kind of incarnation or some shit. You know, they're always thinking that they're all reincarnated famous people, and that they all think they're different gods in this pantheism.
Always, dude. They're never some dickhead who lived in the streets. They're always Joseph Goebbels, Adolf Hitler. They're always Nazi shit, dude. I'm reincarnation of Adolf Hitler. Okay, bud.
Yeah.
RR in the chat is reincarnation of Rod Rosenstein.
Dude, I'm pretty sure that's a Bill Colby focused AI that we're dealing with there, but it might be Rod Rosenstein. I like that. I like that as well. You know, he doesn't have nothing but time on his hands, old Rod Rosenstein, ever since he got his commie ass fired from the Federal Bureau of Investigations and the Department of Injustice.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's probably a communist.
He's definitely a communist, dude. Just listen to what he says and the words he writes. All these people are happy to tell us they're fucking communists. I'm not hollering at you, Clint. I'm just saying I hate, you know me. Just as much as you don't like communism, I also am not a fan. Because, dude, look, these people like our channel, they're like, oh, we had to do all that to fight communism. Well, look around, jackass. We're surrounded by communism in this country. How did you win at that battle there, bud? Or did you just claim that while instituting communism in this nation under this guise of, oh, we're fighting communism? All right. I'm going to believe that one, buddy. Thank you, RR, and other Bill Colby ball washers.
We're fighting communism.
The communists,
we're fighting communism out here.
We're fighting terrorists now.
Well, the communists used to make propaganda to make people go against the Constitution, but now the communists have found a new method where they pretend to be pro-Constitution, pro-America, but really they're just more communist than ever. the leftists these days.
For sure, dude.
But the psyop's so bad, you can see right through it if you have half of a brain cell.
Well, on that note, I'd like to hold that thought, please, sir.
So how are all of those little wave ripples? How are those so perfectly matching what's in the video?
Because all dispersal patterns, all dispersal patterns look the same. This is like saying that my butthole is your butthole because they're similar, right? It's not. We don't have the same butthole because of that.
You're using butthole out of context. You're talking about buttholes making everyone feel weird.
And that's the point.
I mean, speaking of buttholes, we're living in a time of well-crafted, well-engineered, well-researched psychological operations. Where I don't know,
that's a top podcast. Danny Jones' podcast is huge.
Oh, I think that interview did a great job of outing this MH370 nonsense with a fellow named Ashton Forbes. Speaking of occult genealogy of America, who, by all appearances, from the genealogy I did on his Forbes line at least, is from the same Forbes line that was helped in starting Yale University.
Wow. So that's psyop. That's how
silver
psyop,
spoons, right? Silver spoons, right?
That's how it operates, though, right, JJ? You know, you get these big time. I mean, if you've seen the Ashton Forbes thing, I think it was last summer or the summer before last, he went on a podcast spree, especially in this alt conservative or alt media landscape, right? Quote unquote. Alt media, but he went on everyone's show, so that's kind of what rang the bell to me.
Dude, he still is going on folk shows. I made that like a month ago, dude, and I've seen him on numerous shows since I made that clip. When I just first discovered that clip, I was like, that's fantastic. This dude's talking about buttholes, dude. He's comparing shit to buttholes, dude. That's a real good comparison. Keep up the hard work, buddy.
Hey. Don't be bringing up your butthole unless you're bleaching it.
Dude, don't be talking all this butthole talk and making things weird. So, speaking of buttholes, this is Orenthal James Simpson's daughter, Sydney, on the left, from his marriage with Nicole, and this is being the fact that he's an African American fella, black fella, and Nicole was a white woman of German heritage. You would have a mixed race child, and that would be the same similar circumstances you would find in the biological on paper natures of old Khloe Kardashian here on the other side. But if you ask me, they look a lot like sisters.
Yeah, definitely look like sisters.
They have the same. I don't have the full body type here. They're both built like both of them linebacker-esque qualities. If you
Look
will.
at the nose.
The
They got
nose.
large foreheads.
There you go. I was about to say that the drive-in movie theater forehead.
You could land a.
And I say that.
Right?
I say that. These Kardashian women are all doing all these surgeries, so it's hard to see who looks like what. But you look at the older photos of Chloe and her sisters, her alleged sisters, right? Again, I believe they are her mother's children, but I don't believe that she has the same father. And you may be asking, well, again, how do you know these folks all know each other? Well, look, dude, they did summer vacations every year together. This is the Kardashians and the Simpsons. They vacation again. That's who introduced Robert Kardashian to Chris, whatever her name is, right here. Chris, we'll call her Jenner, right? Whatever her maiden name was. There's Orenthal with Nicole, right? So do you mean to tell me that these weird Scientologists aren't having some weird sex stuff going on and amongst all of these folks? I'm not buying it, dude.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they probably don't know whose kids are whose.
That's what I'm saying, dude. That's exactly what I'm saying, sir.
Yeah, the occultists all practice weird. I mean, some of them are the Luciferian side of the occultists practice more of a celibacy, but then the pan worshipping occultists are just straight up orgiastic cult, like Bohemian Grove, for example. Which their Moloch statue, quote unquote, which is the owl, which that's a long story about why the owl is the bull. But basically, ISIS eventually wears the mask of the fucking the bull in the story. But that ISIS is equivalent with the Babylonian god of which the castration cults and the sex cults all devoted themselves to, the owl and Ishtar, and basically what you would deem in Christian terminology the quote unquote Scarlet Whore of Babylon.
Well, you know what? There's some good points on the esoteric and occult nature of some of these, philosophies of what we're describing as the degradation of human society and genders and whatnot. And we see that amongst all these secular, humanist, ancient alien cargo cults, right? Not the least of which is science. What is it?
Wasn't Pan a transgender too, right?
He's pretty horny. And speaking of horns, you mess with the bull, you get the horns, right, Clint? You're talking about the bull there. No, I think you're right, Landon. I'm just being facetious there, obviously. But
it's kind of like a multifaceted, right? The Pan, it's kind of everything. That was the kind of idea.
Pam or Pan?
Pan. Yeah, Pan. The word pantheon is.
Oh, I get it. It's a silent D. It's a silent D.
Yeah. There was a city in the Greek, they called it Panopolis.
At one point, I felt I had reached the state of clear, right?
Which is what?
Which is in Scientology, I guess, is the area where you kind of.
You don't have to take it from me. Listen to Orenthal himself. He went clear.
That's the way
I'll put a link in the show notes. No, I think there's a lot. Again, we're transgender. I think there is some aspects that I'm familiar with that folks describe it as that. I'm not sure everyone describes it as that, but it does seem to be some of the root nature of what we see in the Baphomet, right? I mean, that does seem to, at least, I'm not an occultist by any nature, but that does seem to me on its surface to be very much the similar style philosophies being perpetrated with the symbols, right?
Yeah, well, they're with the Baphomet symbol made by Eliphas Levi, which was
he reappropriated it too, though, didn't he?
A re-edition, right?
But the symbol itself is it's the occultist symbol of the fruit from the tree of the Garden of Eden. And that symbol is on the devil's fucking dong, on the fucking picture.
Oh, dude, devil dong, dude? Devil dongs?
Yeah, the staff with the serpents and the orb is the quote unquote tree with the serpent, Satan, and the fruit from the tree, which is the quote unquote serious consciousness. That I wish I was making this shit up because these people are fucking wacko.
So what we're saying here is it's old ancient sex cult shit. Then is what you're saying.
Yeah. It goes back to ancient Egypt, Amun, which meant the hidden one, the concealed god. That's why the Amun or Ares was.
I thought that was a sun god.
That's why they make buildings like the Pentagon, which is a pentagon is a symbol for Mars, the planet Mars, which is the war god, and that basically in ancient Egypt there was this whole planetary star stuff. This is all the same cult. Doesn't matter which star.
Dude. And all of these people are into it, right? Even folks like Janet Reno's doppelganger here, Will Ferrell, because he's in all those Maria Abramovich spirit cooking ceremonies, dude. He's into some weird shit, dude. Yeah, but I do like this clip here from
lady.
Oh, you know, it's Pam.
I'm sorry. Well, Pan.
No, my name is Pam.
Are you saying Pan or Pam?
I'm saying Pam. Yeah, I'm sorry. Who is this gentleman sitting behind you?
Hello, Ms. Lady. I'm Greg. I'm Glenn's stepbrother, and
They're
I might be
interviewing
able
to
to help
clean
with
up
the
shit.
Pam dilemma.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Pam.
Pam. Oh, no.
Pam.
Pam.
With
There's
an
a
M.
D on the end.
There's no D. It's Pam.
It's like comb.
Here, it's P.
like P-A-N-M.
M.
Yeah.
Pam.
Two M's.
M.
That was the
No,
confusion.
there's just one M. I think we've had enough.
Shut for
here.
1 second.
Shut your mouth.
I needed someone
Wait,
to
shut your
work
mouth.
with.
Shut.
Oh shit. I love that scene. When you said anytime I hear Pan or anything like that, it reminds me of that scene.
You ever see that movie where he's Sherlock Holmes? And it's that same comedy team and with their Sherlock Holmes and Watson, and it's
dude, dude, they make a good combo there. Well, it's his writer, Will Ferrell's writer. I think that's a big success there, and that's what is Homeboy's name? He's made more recent success outside of just him and Ferrell in recent years. He did that movie, The Other Guys, with Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg. Great film. And there's a lot of really deep esoteric hood rat shit of the financial varieties in Wall Street that are embedded into that film, not least of which the plot line. But Homeboy is the one who wrote all those successful Will Ferrell films. I can't think of his name right now, but it's his writing partner and friend.
Dude, that Will Ferrell clown clip from the Adult Swim episode is super creepy, bro. Have you guys seen it?
It doesn't ring familiar. Adam McKay, though, and if you're familiar with the famous mid-aughts Will Ferrell interwebs clip of the landlord, Ruby the landlord, little girl's cursing at him. Little girl's cursing at him for money. That's Adam McKay's daughter. She's in the movies, cursing at him and stuff. She's always making an appearance. Yeah.
My ex watched that shit on YouTube. It was Will Ferrell is all the whole Saturday Night Live crew is, you wonder if they're all like agents or some shit. Because I mean, what's the perfect way to sneak someone into a country to make them famous?
Exactly, dude. Tom Cruise can get into any room in the entire fucking world, dude.
Yeah. Fucking
This is super creepy, JJ. If you want me to play it, it's only a minute long.
Hold on 1 second, sir. I have one of my favorite scenes in the Adam McKay humor of The Other Guys is in the fact that he embed so much like actual shit in there, right? Is the scenes they talk about with these Ponzi schemes and the Federal Reserve, which most folks don't know what the Federal Reserve is, so I think it's a great joke.
Yeah.
Bank, its interest rates and loans money to other banks.
Is that a wastebasket?
Yeah, right there.
Nope.
Well, the FBI and the Federal Reserve regulate the stock market and corporate fraud.
And the Federal Reserve is a prison.
No, basically it's a help-for-profit bank that sets interest rates and loans money to other banks.
I just love that joke because he doesn't have a fucking clue, and Wahlberg kills it in that scene, well, in that movie too. But he continues to claim he's going to lock folks up in the Federal Reserve because he thinks it's a prison.
Yeah, I mean, basically, it's like if everybody sold everything in the whole country, their land, their houses, their cars, we can never pay the national debt back. They're milking us for eternity.
Dude, who do we owe it to, dude? That's why I was asking, who the fuck do we owe money to? The World Bank? Oh, the fucking Nazis? Go fuck yourselves.
Yeah, the IMF.
Dude, yeah, dude, who do we owe it to? The butcher of Waco? Go fuck yourself, dude.
All right, here's this creepy clip.
Oh, my bad. My bad. That was the butcher of Waco. My mistake. Yikes.
You know you're gonna love my clowns. Come on! I breed them myself. These clowns come from Donnie's. Why try some other man's seed? My
clowns
seed's
in cages.
I keep my seed in.
It looks like the character he played on Saturday Night Live is the devil. He has the same beard.
It's super creepy.
So, what are your all's? Let's do a final vote and tally here. What are your thoughts on who is her daddy and what did he do?
It's probably OJ's.
Right?
Yeah,
got that jawline, dude. She's got that Simpson jawline, dude. That's very prevalent amongst all of us children, including the women.
Right.
The measurement on the chin compared to OJ's in proportion with the nose and the eyes, I'd say it's probably OJ's. Unless, what does the mom look like? Does the mom have a giant
dude. I mean, it looks like a white lady because she's a white lady.
Yep.
She's brunette. She's a brunette, you know what I mean? So, I mean, you can see the mother's qualities there as well. But, dude, she's got that Simpson jawline. She's got that OJ8 head. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, man, who cares who her father is? Because I'm going with Bruce just with how the shit that came out with him.
Just because. No, I don't. You know, in the end, you make a good point. Who really cares? But the point that I like to play with this game is this paints a narrative of a society that we don't understand on its surface level. And that's kind of the underlying kind of meta-analysis of most of these conversations I have here on Operation GCD. And I appreciate you gents joining me and you folks of the interwebs. And one of those narratives again tonight has been that these elements of these folks all know each other. We live on a surface level of society. Sold a bunch of bullshit. Psyops to mind more psychological operations style, Green Beret, Muppet Michael Aquino, Colonel U.S. Army, Bill Colby queer, not a commentary on any sexuality in these matters, regardless of whatever they do with themselves. Commentary on what they've done to our society, and they've left in strange and anomalous circumstances that we've yet to really understand or explain. Like RR Channel, what motivates RR Channel other than being possibly a Bill Colby focused AI? I don't know, but these are I would call that kind of queer, strange and anomalous.
It's definitely strange.
Yeah, there's a lot of internet trolls that they're brainwashed by communism. It's fucked
fucking
up.
commie bastards, dude.
If they're even real, you know.
Well, when you're talking about who's the daddy too, right? So if you look into Queen Elizabeth and her heritage with Muhammad, what they do is like they track it back where she's like the 43rd generation from Muhammad the Prophet, but then they'll say, oh no, like I think in like 1000 something, one of her great grandparents or whatever was a bastard child, and it is like common lineage or naming that shows that she was a bastard of that one, but then they're like, no, that's not proven. So it's kind of weird that way because you know, you can track her back to like I say, you can track her back to Prophet Muhammad, and she's 43 generations from him, so that makes Charles 44th, right?
Excellent point, sir. Very excellent point. I will have to discuss some of these matters with you. I feel like sometimes you have some sort of Canadian device to read my brain hole, because you almost every time you're on here, sir, not only do you bring new details, but you're hitting on stuff I'm already working on, and that is some of these esoteric and royal lines of the Islamic varieties and how they intersect with the European royals, and you just fucking nailed it, sir.
Yeah, that's why they're favoriting them. They import them into Europe, into Canada, fucking into the U.S.
They all know each other. They all fucking know each other, man. That's really what it boils down to. And if I may go back to these matters of psyop on psyops and the people who sell us these psyops like old Bill Hicks / Alex Jones. So I discovered this about 7. This is actually, I'm surprised it's on YouTube. So this has been taken off before. This is the original creator of this brief clip I'll play some of, discussing these strange similarities and seemingly weird coincidences regarding the lives of Alex Jones and Bill Hicks. And this was removed, I know, but it's back up there now. But I know the first time I'd seen it was probably more like 10 years ago, maybe 9 or so. But this is 7 years old on YouTube, and it's only got 300,000 views, looks like, and it should have a lot more. Let's see here. Yeah, 300,000 views, dude. That's crazy. This is actually very well put together demonstration of what I'm talking about regarding these matters of the fake characters we get sold to us to sell us these fake narratives. And Bill Cooper had it right. Bill Cooper had it right in 1997, and this man today is claiming to do the things that Bill Cooper did in a very COINTELPRO bullshit shitcoat used car salesman fashion, the likes of none other than Ted Gunderson.
There's thousands of Americans out there. By the way, I've been shot with a laser beam twice.
Twice, folks. Watch out. And I wish he only twice claimed to do things that other folks did and shitcoat those matters, but it was far more than twice. And those matters are all relative to Bill Colby's queers and the programs they brought back to America, these communist fucking anti-liberty programs, Gladio operations, domestic terrorism, the Phoenix program, Satanic Murder Inc., Serial Killers Come Home, and last but not least, the folks we were talking about earlier with some of this drug trafficking, Hunter Biden's favorite people, old doctor and crack PhD Hunter Biden, the Air America drug trafficking epidemics and likes of Iran-Contra we were talking about there with Danger Man and Rakana Shudo and gang. All these fuckers know each other, and a lot of it all goes back through Bill Colby and his buddy Edward Lansdale, of course, but nonetheless, we're sold these psyops where folks like, if our channel's not fucking drinking the Kool-Aid, dude, he's making it, but because he's buying into all these things, it seems, right? But I salute you on your service there, our channel, sir or ma'am, because your dedication to being wrong keeps me motivated. But here's let's look at this here real quick.
B, there are tons of people brainwashed by InfoWars, and they think it's a legit source for truth. And C, people who love Bill Hicks think that he would never do anything like this because he was a loose cannon. Luckily, I've never been here for the likes, so I don't really care.
I guess I don't really need to speed it up.
Anyway, some say that even if Alex Jones is Bill Hicks, it doesn't matter. I say, if Bill Hicks was recruited to assume the character of Alex Jones as the leading controlled opposition to the mainstream media, then I think that's a big deal. And let me say this, Bill Hicks, for what he was and what his work.
So we can watch more of this, but I just want to pause and kind of interject at times and let y'all interject. But so again, this is the original creator of this ODD TV. I don't know this individual, but he did a fine demonstration and presentation here. And in one of the clips, he does show that Bill, disregard Alex Jones, his employees are carrying around Time Warner cable press badges. It's in a video here, but we'll get to that. What are your thoughts so far?
I'm definitely interested in seeing those press passes.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
We'll get there for sure. Have y'all have ever seen this before?
I've never seen it.
Yeah, I've seen this one.
Nice. All right. So yeah, it's some good shit. We'll watch some more of it here though. Let's fast forward I'll put it a little bit faster so we can get through it.
Consisted of, I absolutely love him. He was a total badass, and I have all of his work, and I watch it every. I don't want to disrespect the man if he is dead, but I genuinely don't think so, and here's why. First off, they look identical. When comparing pictures of the two, you'd have to be blind not to see the similarities.
Let me run that at real speed so we can look at some of these similarities. I mean, y'all like to get your all's opinion. To me, they're the same fucking dude. Just on appearance, let alone all the other, circumstantial arguments to be made here, right?
Have you ever watched the Bill Hicks at Waco video?
Yeah, dude, they got it in here. Thank you, sir. That's what also caused me to think of these things was the Butcher of Waco there, right?
Yeah, Janet Reno.
And Bill Hicks is there with Kevin, whatever the fuck his name, who is Alex Jones' fucking.
Alex Jones's manager, Bill Hicks' childhood best friend and manager, and Joe Rogan and Doug Stanhope's manager. Doug Stanhope, Neo Process, fellow best friends with Johnny Depp, Marilyn Manson, and gang, Damien Eccles, and etc.
What's that other weird guy, JJ, that hangs out with Rogan all the time? Duncan Trussell.
Duncan Trussell.
Duncan Trussell had child rapist and murderer Damien Eccles on his Netflix show. And again, Joey Diaz was a drug mule for the processians that I would claim to process. If you're renting a mansion from one of the main leaders in pornography, child pornography especially, Wayne Williams' boss, the alleged Atlanta child killer, processing murders. If you're renting from Michael Thievis, Wayne Williams' boss, which is what Whitney and Bobby did, that was who owned their home, was Michael Thievis. I'm going to say, and you're doing cocaine stuff, I'm going to say that's a lot of processing shit for me to not to assume they're also processed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The New Age Laurel Canyon, brother.
Yes, sir.
I don't want to disrespect the man if he is dead, but
and now that you mention that, one of his best friends we'll see here also in the aughts, the mid aughts and early aughts, was Charlie Sheen. Just saying.
Tiger blood.
I genuinely don't think so, and here's why.
Winning. Then I would say, I'm winning. And that was his bit.
I don't know.
First off, they look identical. When comparing pictures of the two, you'd have to be blind not to see the
Come on, I keep
blind.
Stop it.
When comparing pictures,
Look at that, dude. Look at that. I mean, did you look at it? Would you look at that?
It's very similar.
Yeah. Do you think they could do one of them might have to be wearing eye contacts because the one guy's eyes are brown and the others are blue. I'm sure they could possibly do surgery for that. I've always thought about this concept of the clones and like
my back
doppelganger
variations of clones possibly.
In my back?
Yeah, your back.
So the ears are the same, dude. The foreheads, the wrinkles. They've done a little bit of facial reconstruction stuff, I think, giving them some chipmunk cheeks and stuff like that. Dude, if you just take just a little bit off the nose, folks will not recognize you. And I will emphasize that, but it's a really weird aspect of how our human sight works and how we distinguish patterns. But do y'all remember, I'm sure Jonah and Clint do, I don't know about Landon a little bit before his time maybe, but obviously a moment in many young men's lives seeing that film Dirty Dancing, for seeing the lady in there, Jennifer Grey, probably a important moment for some men's life seeing Patrick Swayze in there. But Jennifer Grey obviously was a fairly memorable actress as a result of in the likes of like Phoebe Cates was in the 80s, for younger teenage men and whatnot. They were kind of the sex symbols of the 80s, right? Homegirl got her nose just a little bit taken off there around 1990, never acted really again after that because no one fucking recognized her. How do you go? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you go from this major Hollywood up and rising star sex symbol to not because you got your fucking nose changed and no one even fucking recognized anymore? It's kind of, you can look at Newman from Seinfeld in the same capacity. Once he got fucking also them weights, he's no longer the funny fat guy and no longer really doing anything in Hollywood outside of voice acting.
And the ones that really try to expose it, they wind up dead. Look at what's his name, Andrew Bourdain. He was part of the Hollywood scene as well. And
oh, dude, he was dating homegirl, that horror exploitation kind of horror porn director from Italy. He was dating his daughter, who was the first person to ever publicly accuse Harvey Weinstein of any shenanigans.
Right. And what was the other guy's name that recently died? Shoot. I'm having a brain fart.
That's the Dirty Dancing lady today. Would you believe that? Looks nothing like her.
I don't think I've seen that movie.
What, dude?
Robin Williams. Sorry, that's what I was thinking of.
Dude, you're not crazy for Swayze?
I remember the Roadhouse movie, but I don't know.
Dude, Roadhouse, dude, he was killing it in the early 90s, dude. Roadhouse, Point Break. Come on, man. Point Break.
Hey, if you're going to be talking about Swayze, you got to bring up Young Blood.
What's that, sir?
If you're talking about Swayze, you got to bring up Young Blood when with Keanu Reeves and Rob Lowe when they play hockey in Hamilton.
That's what I'm saying, dude. You get Swayze and Reeves in numerous films. You throw in Busey in the mix. You got yourself a Hollywood blockbuster there in Point Break.
Oh, yeah. I always thought it was weird his character in Donnie Darko, how they casted a weird character for him.
The doctor, yeah, dude. Well, I mean, he was at a weird point in his life too, and who knows what weird shit he's into, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Donnie Darko film was kind of weird, because when it came out, everybody was all hyped about it. I had no clue because I was fucking drunk as shit off tequila.
For sure, dude. For sure. It's a creepy film, for sure. But my point being in all this diatribe here, and I appreciate you, gents, and the folks at the interwebs, entertaining that discourse there. But you change a little element of just the nose, dude. Homegirl went from major sex symbol Hollywood rising star to never really acting again. And when she did, people were like, who the fuck is that?
Well, Biden had like 8 clones, right?
Well, Biden's got a lot of things.
Of the two, you'd have to be blind.
He had some different.
Dude, look at that, dude. Look at that, dude. Look at that. Look at
yeah,
that,
they
dude.
definitely could be the same person.
We'll get to in a second because Bill Hicks was like 13 years older than what Alex Jones claims to be. But then if you look at Alex Jones today, you're like, is that a 49-year-old dude or a 62-year-old dude? And you're like, oh,
Yeah,
probably 62.
He looks a lot older now.
Dude, he's the most busted-ass 49-year-old dude I've ever seen, dude.
To play devil's advocate, he does drink a lot, so I mean that will age quickly.
Alex Jones is only 49.
Dude, Landon. I understand folks age at different capacities and different times. If we're gonna
I'm just playing devil's advocate.
If we're gonna start talking metric volume of booze and consumed, I guarantee you, sir, I can at least compete, if not surpass, the likes of Bill Hicks and Alex Jones there on my multiple decade drinking spree that I went on. However, my point being there, sir, from age 13 to around age 34, pretty heavy drinker. Very much so after the age of 17. Nonetheless, I don't think that really ages you all that much. I think some of that's bullshit, dude. I think some of that's bullshit. If I'm going to play devil's advocate to your devil's advocate, that's my devil's advocate to your devil's advocate.
All right.
Yeah. Well, I guess he's 2 years older. He's 51.
Is he 50? Okay, so is he? So is he 51 today, or is he 64 today? Right? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You know what I
he
mean?
could pass for 64.
So he's
Definitely could pass for 64. I mean, he looks super
Dude, we'll look into that here in a second because it's going to get to that point.
Is this the one that they show his bodybuilding photos or whatever?
Oh, hold on, what's that? What's that, sir? Did you say something, Jonah?
Do they show his bodybuilding stuff? Yeah, do they show his bodybuilding stuff on this documentary, or is that a different one?
You mean the photographs where he claims they used to compete in bodybuilding competitions?
Yeah, but then the gym looks like it's straight out of the fucking 70s, or the background it's just like
Absolutely.
it doesn't look
Thank
like
you, sir.
80s.
Thank you. If you apply any critical thought, sir, yes, I like where your brain hole's at as always here. And
Can
you
you
apply
pull
any
that?
critical thought to that imagery, you'll see it's no different than the Hollywood photographs where suddenly the two lead actors are depicted in a family photograph from years prior, right? It's the same bullshit. Right? You tracking what I'm saying? You see a film where you got your A-list actors playing, father and daughter, and you get a photograph. They're like, "Oh, look at this, honey, 20 years ago," and it's a fucking fake photograph of these two people. It's computer generated imagery, probably AI, because AI's been around a lot longer than we want to fucking recognize. But you know what I mean? So yeah, dude, if you apply critical thought to this bullshit he sells, yeah, dude, it's fucking fake shit, dude. I appreciate that.
Well, then even with when you're talking about the AI, if you watch Wag the Dog, they're literally showing you in 1999 where they're doing the fake war and just swapping out cats and dogs and then everything right on the movie, right? So they're just giving it away, but people will be like, "Oh no, that's just Hollywood magic."
You are spot on, and that man, Dustin Hoffman, Cocaine Bob Evans, underling, and man who made Cocaine Bob made that man's career. He's playing Cocaine Bob in that film. That is a parody and satire of Cocaine Bob Evans. And Dustin Hoffman, probably Weather Underground. Speaking of Bill Ayers and Bernadette Dawn, as we were talking earlier.
Can I ask if any of you have seen Straw Dogs? Although I won't recommend watching it if you have not seen it.
I have not, sir, but I will say this: Dustin Hoffman was present at the scene of the infamous West Village of Manhattan townhouse that blowed up of the Weather Underground, because they were making bombs in there and they blew themselves up inadvertently, it appears, or possibly someone else did, who knows. Hoffman was present. He claims, "Oh, I live next door." Well, I mean, he did live next door, but why the fuck was he present there at the scene of the bombing?
Weird.
That also reminds me of I don't remember the names, but back in like 1913 or whatever, the people that were tied to Emma Goldman when they blew up themselves trying to make dynamite.
Yeah, Dude, and every time I hear someone spew nonsense about January 6th, I don't give a shit about any of it. I really don't. Because no one talks about Bill Ayers and Bernadette Dorn's Processing Weather Underground, who literally blew up U.S. Congress in circa 1983. They bombed U.S. Congress. And old Slick Willie, Bill Clinton.
Really crime.
Yeah, he
well,
pardoned him.
well, I'm going to have to say yes. I'm going to say yes, because old Slick Willie would commute Susan Rosenberg back in 2001 on his way out of office in January. And Susan Rosenberg was a major figure. She was the treasurer for Act Blue, the nonprofit money laundering operation that the DNC used to finance the Summer of Love back in 2020. You know, when we were celebrating the life and times of the Saint and Savior George Floyd.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Derek Chauvin's.
So we had a convicted domestic terrorist who blew up Congress, financing all that shit, dude. And if anyone donated money to BLM, that money went directly to Act Blue and Susan Rosenberg. Fucking domestic terrorists, dude. So I mean, these are the the issues I have with it. Yes, sir. But what were you saying, Landon? I agree with you. Congress sucks, and it's filled with a bunch of pedophiles. If that's your statement, Jonah, I agree with you on that commentary. But I don't agree with the ongoing financial Operation Gladio, Colby's Queers operations we see with these cults and groups. So these obvious communist Marxists, fighting communism. These people are communists. They tell you they're communists. Susan Rosenberg's a devout Marxist. So was BLM. So was our Saint George Floyd.
Where is Derek Chauvin? That's the real.
Thank you, sir. I think that's what I heard you say. Yeah, dude, he's a psyop too, right? I mean, looks like has all the hallmarks of a psyop. If it looks like a psyop and walks like a psyop, probably a psyop.
Yeah.
Well, him and George Floyd work together.
A fun fact about Minneapolis. Hey,
Nice.
so fun fact about Minneapolis.
Oh yes, sir. I missed that. Go ahead.
So with Minneapolis, where the George Floyd should happen, right? The latitude is 44 degrees north and it's 93 degrees west. 93 to Lima, flight 93.
Well, that's Crowley's magical number, right? 93.
Yeah, and that's Minneapolis is 44 by 93.
Yeah, that's right.
That's very interesting, sir. I don't really, I don't have a keen eye for these kind of more esoteric and occult details, but I certainly salute you and Clint for always bringing these kind of matters to my attention of these kind of natures.
All right. So the George Floyd thing, that's one of those examples of the Illuminists, the occultists, pulling the strings of human nature to use it. Because when I used to go to Chicago in like 99 through 2001 or so, I think the last time I went to Chicago was 2002. There was murders like crazy everywhere. If you went anywhere that was wrong street, you could get killed instantly, fucking for being white and fucking. It's no joke. You would not stop at stop signs. You would not do, because there was crazy shit going on. Fucking.
I can second that, sir. I did some business up in Chicago in not recent years, but about 5-6 years ago now, I was up there routinely, and about the 4 or 5 years preceding that. And making some routine visits in those regions, dude. It's a shit show, dude. Calling it Chirac is not an inaccurate statement, dude. I felt safer in Iraqistan than I did in Chicago.
It's good old Cook County, right?
It's good old fucking communism, dude. If you want to look at communism's fucking impact on America, look no further than Chicago, who's been run by devout communist Marxists for decades. Dude, listen to them. They all fucking say it like, oh, what do you mean? What do you mean the mayor of Chicago is a communist? Are you fucking serious? They just said they're wearing a T-shirt that says I'm a fucking communist. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's how obvious.
Emmanuel.
Dude, exactly, dude.
I think Portland puts them for a run for their money.
Well, Chicago's older though. They got that old commie stuff going on. And again, Bill Ayers still lives there today, and he's from a Silver Spoon family where his father was the chairman of the board of the electric company. So let's get further into this though, because what you're saying makes a lot of sense though. Because again, we see this kind of manufactured nature of all of our reality.
I know we all have doppelgangers, but these guys both grew up in the state of Texas and have the same teeth, which is damn near an impossibility, especially when considering all of the other things they have in common.
Son of a bitch. My computer's being dumb, dude.
Oh, wow.
I'm done with technology today, dude.
That's interesting. That's very similar
Oh,
right there.
yeah, right? Hold on. I'm trying to pause it, dude. Hold on. You son of a bitch. You damn computer demons. Dude, these technology gremlins are acting up all day, dude. I've had enough of it, dude. I've had some. You know what, dude?
All right, knock this shit off. I have been having a very bad day. Just got out of jail this morning. Already I have been shot at. I was on the bus that flipped over 17 times. A bitch tried to stab me in the bathroom, and somebody blew up my Porsche. I am in a bad goddamn mood. Now,
that's how I feel about these damn technology gremlins today, man. These damn machines that everyone so heavily relies upon. Let's all trust the machines and Bill Ayers' dad, he's gonna power them to the power company. Yeah, go fuck yourself, communist.
Well, JJ, I don't know with you, but I know where I am, right? So up here, they just got rid of all the 3G. So, living out in the country, it seems like the connection's got to shit since they got rid of all the 3G. So now it's all on 4G, which is shorter wavelengths, and then fucking.
There you go. There you go. It's not as good, is it? And then when people want to say, "Oh, we got 5G and 6G," well, that's worse technology. You fucking dum dums. It's gonna have shorter distance. You're gonna have more power. You got to feed it too.
No, that's why that's why they're laying all these fiber optics everywhere, so they can just do it through your Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Right, but if you're out here in the country, like there's no houses, close enough to get the distances. So
I agree, dude. And we have people to thank, such as the Butcher of Waco, the gorgeous, handsome Janet Reno. So, what are your thoughts on these teeth situation, Clint?
That bottom tooth is very similar. I mean, if he had surgery, I mean, it could be it's possible. But I mean, this other thing that I was talking about earlier about the idea of clones, different variations of clones, because I've always speculated that the Nazis were making clones.
Oh, so you're not saying they cloned him and like overnight shipped him a new 32-year-old model or whatever, 33-year-old model. You're saying these individuals were cloned from birth, like a double Lee Harvey Oswald situation.
Yeah, like different variations of the same clone.
Hey, no shit, Clint. I like that idea, sir.
Yeah, because that thing about Cooper, when he says about Waco, he says that because his people were all really, they paid, they all had press passes. He had 50,000 people working for him in his citizenry and intelligence agency, and that he said that when when Oklahoma City happened, that fucking like 30 something of his people in Oklahoma City reported to him that they had seen Timothy McVeigh in like 30 different spots at the same time. And fucking
oh, well, that's yeah, dude, that's classic spookery, dude. Saddam Hussein had like 8 doubles, dude. So when people say like when Landon just said that Joe Biden had 8 doubles, people scoff at that, but that's just that's standard operating procedure.
All right. I got to jet out, guys.
They share the same.
Oh, yes, sir.
I got to pick up my girlfriend, so sorry for dipping out a little early. But
no worries, sir. Thank you for joining us tonight to get a little GCD. Yep. And
absolutely, it was fun.
Folks can check out the Daily Dissident. I'll put the link in the show notes. Do you have any closing statements on tonight's commentary, conversations, or any plugs? Or how about how beautiful Janet Reno is?
Very beautiful. No, just check out the Daily Dissident wherever you get podcasts, and we'll see you guys over there. Good show tonight. Good talking to all you guys.
Right, peace.
Jonah, Clint, see ya. JJ, later, buddy.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You guys have a good night. See ya.
Peace.
Same best friend and production partner, Kevin Booth. Here's a clip of Kevin Booth discussing a little bit about growing up with Bill Hicks as his best friend.
I remember I used to buy a Totino's frozen pizza every single night and like a half a gallon of Bluebell ice cream and go over to Bill's house. And that's what we would do. Watch soap.
Whoa, pause this real quick.
And
when me and Dan interviewed Jamie and she discussed well, I mean, this is wait, is he talking about Bill Hicks or Alex Jones right now?
Well, he's talking about Bill, but this is Alex Jones' best friend too. They're both the same best friend.
Yes. So Jamie said when they were backstage and stuff that they always ate pizza. Sorry, go on.
And this is Jamie Dyer.
Yeah, me and Dan interviewed her on End of Days, and
which is interesting because Jay Dyer works for Alex Jones, right?
Yeah, because we were
Her
asking
husband,
her
right?
what goes on backstage and stuff, and like she said they just eat pizza.
Now, I don't want to get into any folks' personal situations, but my understanding is she her ex-husband, Freeman Fly. Is that right?
I don't know if they were married or not, but
well, domestic partnership, marriage, slam piece, some sort of sexual relations in life, right? For it seems like, right? Am I mistaken in that?
I'm not sure. I mean,
well, they used to do. I just remember years ago catching them on podcasts together as a couple. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
So Freeman Fly came from the same public access TV, not station, but studio in that station in the hour after Alex Jones in the 90s, and knew Kevin Booth and Alex Jones. So we'll continue from there.
Whoa.
So
I'm just saying, so she knows her ex-husband is associated with these things as well, her ex-boyfriend. I mean, again, nice lady. I'm not trying to besmirch your friend there, Clint. She's met her on your show. Very nice lady, very knowledgeable. I'm not saying she knows anything at all. I have no reason. It's all be all supposition at that point. I'm just saying she's been around numerous characters who know both of these gentlemen. And
can I interrupt here for a
public
moment?
access station.
I just find it really interesting. He had Bill Hicks here, Alex Jones, who goes on all the time about how he's got family members of the CIA. And
He brags about it, dude.
Then you got Kevin Booth, who obviously ties it to the Booth bloodline, going back to the murder of Abraham Lincoln, right? So that's
and UK Prime Minister Tony Blair's cousin, who was third cousins with John Wilkes Booth. I'm sorry, Tony Blair's wife, who was Claire Booth. She was third cousins with John Wilkes.
Yeah, I just find it interesting that you got Kevin Booth, and then you got the guy who's like, "Oh yeah, no, all my family CIA, they were down in Guatemala," and so he's tied himself to.
Oh, dude, he brags about it, dude. He brags about it. And here's the other thing, bud. In regards to, I like where your head's at. Like you're bringing some brain holes, bringing excellent things to the table as usual here, sir. And on regards to who is Bill Hicks' daddy and what does he do? Bill Hicks' daddy was a GMAC executive. You know, some of those folks helped bring us the 2008 financial crisis and the Wall Street disasters revolving around collateralized debt obligations and the quote unquote commodities market, or I'm sorry, derivatives market. Do you know who was one? Not he didn't invent them, but he's the man. You know how Ray Kroc didn't invent McDonald's, you know what I mean? But he made McDonald's what it was, right? You know what I mean?
I have to interrupt here because derivatives and collateralized debt was actually part of the Amsterdam crash in the 1600s, but no one actually looks that far back.
Well, no, you're right. No, you're right. You're right. The tulips.
Yeah. So that was
the first derivatives market, really, right?
Yeah. So I mean, when people are like, "Oh, this is all new technology. This is all new process or whatever," it's like, no, it's not. This is what they did in Amsterdam, and it was the Venetian bloodlines who did that. But no one actually talks about how Venice split into two. They went to Amsterdam first, and then England, and then they brought over William of Orange from Amsterdam, and then you get the Roosevelts here too. So it's all the same bastard bloodline.
Yeah. Yeah, Roosevelt.
You are correct, sir. You are correct. Those are some good points, and that's exactly a great exhibiting what I mean by he didn't really invent it, but there's a fellow by the name. He was an executive at J.P. Morgan by the name of Michael Lodra. He's the man who currently made the version of derivatives and these collateralized debt obligations that Bill Hicks' father was an executive and major player in those markets with GMAC, which is the General Motors financing, and then they got involved in the home markets, not just auto financing, thanks to Bill Hicks' dad and folks like him and the executive staff there. But we see Michael Lodra, his mother was the mayor at a place called Newtown, Connecticut back in 2012. Do with that what you will.
Yeah, but do you know who wrote the the equation for all that shit?
Was it Donald Trump's uncle?
No, a guy out of China named Lee. He was working at CIBC here in Canada.
Yeah, I think that's Donald Trump's uncle, Ken Lee.
No. But he ended up going back to China when everything crashed. So was it? Because the Lee is also listed by Fred Springmeyer, as one of the 13 bloodlines, right? But he's over here in Canada writing that algorithm, which crashes the whole fucking economy, and then he disappears back in China. But you get Henry Kissinger saying, "Hey, we're moving everything to the Pacific, and there's nothing you can do to stop us." So there's a bunch of tie-ins that way, and it's like, oh, okay, cool. Like, just open your eyes and see all the tangents. You know, I'm not NSA, so I won't, or I'm not NSA, CIA, FBI, so I won't be able to give you all the evidence. But I mean, all you have to do is look at it and be like, oh, okay, like 18 similarities is enough for me to say, hey, there's something weird here.
Oh, dude, for sure. And then again, if it's not, I don't want to play this whole video. We're gonna bring this in for a close, but I'll put the link in the show notes because those two individuals, Bill Hicks' childhood best friend, and Alex Jones, joke about him being Bill Hicks on the air numerous times. Kevin Booth says that that Alex Jones is funnier than Bill Hicks, as depicted in there. Not only you'll see the Time Warner badges later in that same one, you'll see the age questionings. You'll also see that. Bill Hicks, aka Alex Jones, accepts an award for Bill Hicks. Alex Jones accepts a comedy award for Bill Hicks, as seen in that clip there. So,
yeah, and the other thing is too, wasn't it Joe Rogan and Bill Hicks? Well, Joe Rogan was on news radio where he's basically being a conspiracy guy, anyways. But they're talking about
Proto, right, dude? That was a setup, right? No, you're on target. That was the setup for his current career, right?
Yeah, and then Bill Hicks and Joe Rogan were talking about like creating a false character or whatever, something like that. I forget all of it. It's been a while since I looked down this rabbit hole.
No, you're right. No, you're right, dude. It's at that same time Rogan's on news radio. Bill Hicks and Kevin Booth are creating an Alex Jones character. Bill Hicks claims to have known Alex Jones and based that character on him. It's in that clip. Let's watch that real fast. And that's a great point. That's a very weird circumstance. Let's close it out on that. Thank you, gents, for joining us here tonight, and thank you, folks, to the interwebs. Let's close it out on a weird note with that clip you just mentioned, Jonah.
Now here's a clip of AJ accidentally slipping up on a show where Kevin Booth was the guest.
No, I'm just giving medical facts here on air, buddy. All right, let's reset. Got a break. Me and Kevin are old friends. This is not good here on air. Me and Kevin are old friends. This is.
Oh, I almost forgot the butcher Waco.
If Bill was utilizing Alex's personality for his Rush Limbaugh type character, and there's no photos that exist of the two together. That's about a Rush Limbaugh that Alex was talking about, right underneath Bill Hicks.
It was a Rush Limbaugh type character, aka Jim Morrison. All right. Well, I can't make that statement without playing the clip of Rush Limbaugh singing "This Is the End" along with Jim Morrison, but using the same gold microphone that Jim Morrison used. But we'll listen to this while I find that clip.
When you click on AJ's bio, it has some interesting things. Let's read the top part here. I became familiar. You can go to Kevin Booth's website, Sacred Cow Productions, and click on artist bios. You'll find that Alex Jones is listed right underneath Bill Hicks. When you click on AJ's bio, it has some interesting things. Let's read the top part here. I became familiar with Alex Jones in the early 90s when he had his first cable access show in Austin, Texas. Alex used to sit in front of a star map, and I had a hard time putting my finger on exactly what it was that Alex was talking about. I remember the very last time Bill Hicks came to Austin Access, spring of '93, we were working on a script.
Austin Public Access. And again, I'm not making accusations. That Freeman Fly fella said he started there in the slot after Alex Jones in there in the 90s.
Yeah. Called Public Access, about a Rush Limbaugh type character who angers a viewer, and the viewer came to the station and killed the host on air. Bill's character is Rush Limbaugh type character, and there's no photos that exist of the two together. You can find Bill Hicks with Kevin Booth. You can find Alex Jones with Kevin Booth, but not Bill and Alex. It's not incriminating on its own, but it's worth your consideration as we continue.
So we see the last thing that Bill Hicks does in his life is report on Waco with his best friend, Kevin Booth. We see the first time we're ever introduced to Alex Jones is about 6 months later, after allegedly Bill Hicks dies, I believe it is, 6 months after that, at Waco, reporting on the same thing with the same person. Just saying.
Bill Hicks was working on a story as a journalist with Kevin Booth about the Waco Branch Davidians shortly before he died in 1994. Then in 1996, Alex Jones pops up out of nowhere with himself and Kevin Booth doing the exact same thing. Here's Bill Hicks in 1993 doing a Halloween special for Sacred Cow Productions.
Sony's online. I mean, that seems a little culty, right? Sacred Cow Productions, right?
Yeah, it looks like an upside down pentacle.
That's what I was thinking, sir.
One. Sony's on line one. You mean we're out of here? We got the public backing we need?
Yeah, that must be that.
Fuck it. We got our big record deal. We're out of here. Thanks.
And here's Alex Jones doing a Halloween special in 1997, also for Sacred Cow Productions.
Yeah, pretty close. Well, I can assure you, I don't make any money off public access.
Coincidence? Maybe. Let's keep going. Some people say that Bill and Alex don't sound alike, but actually they do at times. Here's Bill Hicks.
You suck, buddy. You suck. I can yell at the comedian because I'm a drunk.
Accepted a Bill Hicks portrait as an award.
Tribute to Bill Hicks, February 26, 2004, commemorating 10 years since Bill left our world, presented to the Bill Hicks Foundation.
Why the fuck would he be accepting this award? You know what I mean?
This is weird.
Wildlife, Jerry, and Limerick donors, and the fine folks at Capital.
So Alex claims he's 40.
What were we saying, Jonah?
He's accepted on behalf of the CIA.
This is long before there was even a connection made between Bill and AJ. Before we go any further, I must bring up the fact that according to searchable birthdays of Bill Hicks and Alex Jones, there is a little over a 12-year difference in age, with Bill being older. So Alex claims he's 44 now, and Bill would be 56 right now. Let's note that here in 2018, that Alex Jones does not look 44. He doesn't look 44 to me. Also got to say that people age differently depending on how they treat their bodies and things like that. So again, just want to make a note of it because people have been making notes of this for quite some time.
It is important for the viewer of this video to know that Bill Hicks is 12 years older than what his character, Alex Jones, claims to be. That being said, let's play a little game. How old is that man? 30 or 42?
What's your all's answers? How old is that man, 30 or 42?
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm 47 now, and if Jones is only supposed to be 51, get the fuck out of here.
I'm 45, sir, and I agree with your analysis for sure. Clint?
Wait, he could be in between both ages. I mean, he could be.
Did the communists tell you to do this? Did the butcher of Waco tell you to make that statement?
Well,
Is Janet
I mean,
Reno in the room with you right now? Is Janet Reno in the room with you right now?
I was wondering what was breathing on my neck. You know?
Right?
32 or 44.
Waco. But I mean, look, we already know the
30.
generated kind of PatCon natures. Jonah and I have discussed that some here on Operation GCD a couple months back, and it's awesome conversation, folks. Check out. But if we're looking at the controlled opposition, I mean, we see him. That's where they both erupt from, is Waco.
5 or 47.
I am Bill Hicks, and I'm sitting here.
Oh yeah.
Played the character, Bill Hicks.
On many occasions, Alex Jones talks about being Bill Hicks.
Yes, I am Bill Hicks. Or to be more accurate, you didn't get it all, did you? You didn't get the full conspiracy. I played the character, Bill Hicks. For 15 years, my accomplice, Kevin Booth, and we fooled you all. The master actor, the master genius. Then I decided to bring forward an even more incredible persona, that of Alex Jones. The Queen of England's my mother. Oh, actually, that'll start a new proof of guilt.
We just wrote this.
I'm sitting here.
Okay, so Jonah, you know this guy, right? Jerome Corsi, CIA spook dude from the State Department, Reagan administration.
Yeah,
he was part of the QAnon movement during the first Trump administration. Was heavily pushing QAnon, right?
Yeah, and you know who's his best friend or whatever? Fucking that same
Steve
piece
Pachenik.
of shit that has a Richard Nixon tattoo up his whole back.
Oh yeah, he's
No,
name was
Stone.
Roger Stone, Steve Pachenik. Yep. So he actually calls him Bill on the air, dude.
You got all this, and these people come up to me on the street and they go, "Hey Joe," said like 5 times, and then I turn, like, "Oh, I knew you were, I mean not Joe,
Alex,
whatever
your fucking name is, Alex Jones."
All right, the program is
So
going
yell
out, so I want to just get this out of the way. I am Bill Hicks.
Has been called Bill by some of his guests.
The missing records, it's the proof of cover-up is the proof of guilt.
And we just wrote this ebook
Question of eligibility. Question of eligibility. Under my name, Jerome Corsi and Mike Zollo, D-U-L-L-O. We lay all this out just like we did at the press conference. Now, your question.
Now, Bill, your question. Why the fuck would you ever call him Bill? And is this Dan Quayle's cousin?
Absolutely in another universe, in an alternate space, and quantum Quagmireville, basically Quagmireville.
How many guests can call someone named Alexander Emerson Jones, allegedly, right? How many folks can call that man Bill before folks are like, oh shit, like we heard from Joey Diaz earlier about all this shit behind the scenes where all these fuckers know each other, right? To me, that's the same fucking difference. They all call him Bill off the air, and they're just inadvertently calling him Bill on the air.
Yeah, that is interesting.
And Alex claimed to be funnier and more.
I wonder if there's any pictures of Bill Hicks with blondish or tannish roots in his hair, and then his
I'm not sure.
100% controlled opposition. He works for Ted Turner, who owns Time Warner. We find proof of that when an InfoWars employee is questioned by a cop.
Right there.
You work for Time Warner Cable?
Right there.
Is that who you work for?
I work for Alex Jones. Who do you work for?
You work for
I work for InfoWars. INFOWARS.com. It's a website.
InfoWars.com. Okay, that's what I'm asking, so I can tell who you work for.
So they don't like us.
Time Warner.
We also find evidence of it with the movie
Right?
Time Warner.
Scanner Darkly, where Alex Jones is part of the cast.
Can't you figure this out? Look around you. Look how far we've come. Humanity wasn't meant to live like this. Our every waking moment, tracked and traced and scanned. It's time to stop submitting to this tyranny. It's time to realize that we're being enslaved.
And who put out the movie? Warner Brothers. So he's handled by Time Warner, again, owned by Ted Turner, who is a member of the Bilderberg group that Alex Jones complains about. It's all a joke, a distraction for these people. It's obvious that Jones is a Zionist gatekeeper.
Do I support Israel or don't I? And I've been very, very...
This is a common practice among the ruling class.
So, wait a second. Nope, that's not the right one. Damn gremlins. F you gremlins and commie gremlins. What are your thoughts, gents? As we close this out, what are your thoughts on that? And any closing statements on tonight's show? And anything either you gents are working on? Aside from Islamic royalty mixing with European royalty, which Jonah's working on a future show here on Operation GCD.
Can you go to your X and bring up the picture I just sent you? Because when we're talking about like all these agency fucking shits, right?
Yeah.
No, I meant to bring this up last time. I've meant to bring it up a couple times. I like to throw it out there every time. But you know about the Central Artist Agency? Oops, I mean the Creative Intelligence Agency. Oops.
Oh yeah, dude. You've been Obama's agent now, right? Don't they represent the Obamas in their big Hollywood deals, CAA?
Malaka Harris. Yeah, I always call her Malaka Harris because Malaka is
totally normal.
But Joe Biden. But if you look at their way to set it up, you get the Boaz and Jackum there on the fucking two towers. You get the compass and square design. Even this building here in the front, that's pretty much the monolith from fucking 2001. That's at 2000 Avenue of the Stars. And that's, I think they might have changed their name recently, but it's a Creative Artists Agency, CAA, run by the CIA. So, I mean, it's just hilarious to, I was lucky. I grew up as a skinhead, so I've been like fuck Hollywood since the 90s. I always quote the anti-hero song, Fuck Hollywood. Everyone should check that out. But, it's just, you see all these things where they talk about the magic of Hollywood or this or that. And it's like, basically, they're just controlling what you think of the world by giving you all these false images. But at the same time, I lost where I was going with that. But no, other than that, Yeah, we need to set up something where we're doing, because right now I'm not really doing anything. But if we set something up, I'll kind of focus. But right now I'm.
Am I back?
Yeah. Right now I'm not really doing anything direct, but I'm doing some personal self-improvement, kind of just dedicating myself to that right now.
That's good news, sir, and I hope you're feeling better after that recent grizzly bear maple syrup incident.
But let's set something up and I'll get some, because there's a couple of good topics that we've talked about, like that Reef Commission, which we
Roy
really
DeMayo and this Islam business, sir, are hot on my radar, and you'll be getting future messages from me to schedule those shows. And folks at the interwebs can check out those shows and our previous ones. That PatCon one we did, real barn burner, sir. I really enjoyed your brand.
It got like 4 hours. I wasn't expecting that.
Dude, it was a good one, dude. I've listened to that a couple times. I'm like, shit, dude, I got so many details in this I missed, dude.
Yeah, and again too, that one was great because like you're coming from like the law enforcement angle with the military, and maybe some past criminal activity, even though I have no record in my country. But
little Ven and Vinegar here, Janet Reno style, the butcher of Waco. This fine young gal right here.
I might have a whole list of misdemeanors in your country, but I got none of mine, so I'm good that way.
Well, I'm not allowed in Canada, sir. So we're on the same. Once again, we're meeting on a very diplomatic fashion. We're meeting halfway.
Well, let's be honest. Canada, fuck up. It's like people from the States can't get in, but if you're Justine Castro, you can bring like convicted terrorists with you to India.
Yeah, dude, come on, terrorists, dude. Folks can blow this place up. Come on down.
No, did you ever hear about that when he went over to India to visit Modi, and he brought like one of the convicted Indian terrorists with him, and he was so there was a whole thing. I think I
did not hear about that. That's a new detail I'm gonna have to look up, sir. I appreciate that, but I will point out from my perspective what it sounds like is these commie bastards are gonna commie.
Yeah, pretty much.
So if I appreciate your time, sir, Jonah. I appreciate your input and your perspectives on these matters, because as you do point out, we do come from varying perspectives, but I feel like you bring a lot of great points to a lot of these discussions that I've never even seen before or heard of. So I do respect all of those details, sir. And on this comment here from Matthew Burns, yes, sir.
I just looked it up. It's Jaspal Atwal, and I'm going to drop the link in the chat for you to look at this guy real quick. But he went to visit Modi with that one where he is doing all the cosplay. And they brought this guy with
blackface.
Yeah, no, he's doing Indian cosplay, but I just dropped it in the chat here. So if you look it up, they'll talk about how he is a Khalistani, convicted of attempted murder in 1986 for the attempt to assassinate.
Jonah, he didn't mean it, dude. He's a stand-up guy. He didn't mean it.
So that's an interesting whole thing there too. But that's how Canada runs, man.
Yup.
Yeah.
Well, let's be honest about it. That's how the English Crown and the Vatican run, who still run Canada, right?
Yeah. If you scroll down there, it'll say Justin Trudeau visits India is one of the controversies listed under this guy's Wikipedia.
Sadly, my gremlins are frozen at the moment. They're on strike apparently. And they're union gremlins, so they got to take a break apparently.
Oh shit! I didn't even notice this. Right below that, there was death threats against a British Columbia host after that.
Oh, don't do that! Don't do that.
So
I appreciate that. I'll have to read more about that one, sir. That is a very interesting topic. Let's thank you, Matthew Burns. As I pointed out, this is a very interesting, much like the Alex Jones Bill Hicks thing. We see Rush Limbaugh, who looks an awful lot like Jim Morrison. I'll bring up one of the last known photos of Jim Morrison, who looks like a young Rush Limbaugh. He's super fat, circa 1972 there. And we see Rush Limbaugh does the same thing, brags about his CIA heritage, right, like Alex Jones does. And we see in this clip, he's singing "This Is the End" by The Doors with the same gold microphone model and color, everything there that Jim Morrison used. So same microphone, looks like Jim, sounds like Jim. If it walks like a duck and sounds like a duck, it's probably a communist bastard or something. You know what I mean? Or I'm sorry, a duck.
Ta-da-da! New update, ladies and gentlemen, inaugurated today on the EIB network.
They both had really, really bad heroin addictions. Just want to point that out as well.
This is our
the
euthanasia update.
beautiful friend. This is the end. My only friend in the end. I'll never.
This will be a short one, so we'll be ready on the close.
Again. This is the end.
Are you?
I mean,
This is the end of the age of Aquarius.
I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, what are we talking about here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
did
is
find
it, is it, go ahead.
I found a car forum that it didn't directly link Rush Limbaugh to a Shelby. It was really close to directly linking him to a Shelby GT350, but it wasn't direct. It wasn't verifiable. It was, but it was very interesting because what's his name from the Doors owned a Shelby GT350 that was the same year.
Yeah, June 26, 1971. Jim Morrison, super fat. Just saying.
Yeah.
No, dude, I'm glad you reminded me of that. I'll look further into these details of the Shelby. You're right, sir. That would be an interesting connection.
Yeah, if we could connect that card to him, then we would. I think it would be the tail on the donkey. Yeah.
Let's donkey on that. Let's get a tail on that donkey, sir. I appreciate your brain hole and thoughts there and perspectives and your input on tonight's discussion and your time, sir. Thanks again for joining me to get a little GCD. Do you have any closing statements, thoughts, suggestions, commentary on the gorgeous former Attorney General, Janet Reno, the Butcher of Waco?
Yeah. Recently, this reminds me of a character named Alice Bailey, and all these theosophists.
Was she as hot as Janet Reno?
Probably very parallel.
Nice, I like it.
These theosophists. We've been basically, me and Harry have been discussing their quote unquote invocation of the hierarchy and their symbolisms and how they basically, long story short, that the occultists plan to give the masses the third degree and then turn them into raging maniacs, and that I think that they make some of these movies about these zombie hordes and all this stuff. They make them because this is what they want the sheeple to be, is unthinking people that will, turn into some kind of Florida zombie that'll eat your face, Fucking, if they had it their way, the people are. I mean, more and more people are lobotomized by.
Are you telling me the gorgeous Janet Reno is trying to eat people's faces?
That's exactly what I was saying. They're. I mean, you see what's going on with China and L.A. and
they do that. You're spot on, dude. They hate humanity. That's one of the professed natures or process of the process. Professed statements of the process. They're fundamental core concepts, if you will. Humanity is the devil, and I assure you, they fucking believe it.
Yeah, they've what they're doing, I think, is there's a massive amount of this theosophy, religion veiled in all these things that's resurrected into the modern times through the flower of life cults that are in the hippies and the concert people, that they all have the flower of life tattoo, which is the symbol of the quote unquote star seed, which is symbol of the star Sirius, and they're all into this man is God religion and all these secular situational ethics, which basically that they could be talked into anything because they will rationalize it, and that they're mentally they've got Stockholm syndrome, to where when the media tells them a lie, they will cling to the lie because they've got Stockholm syndrome.
Well, let's be honest, Clint. This is America, so we have the best propaganda. This is America. We have the best, well-financed, well-orchestrated, well-researched propaganda, brought to us by folks like the Butcher of Waco and other associates to terrorize America in their tyrannical nonsense. Right?
Hey, can I jump in?
One second, sir. And amongst these cult bastards you're describing of the secular humanists, aka also another way to describe them, ancient alien cargo cults, in my opinion, is all these alien things are just little demon fuckers, alien demon fuckers. So, and that's a story as old as time, as old as these sex cults we've been discussing as well.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out, when we're talking about propaganda, everyone always wants to bring up Ernest. I mean, everyone wants to bring up Bernays, but can't forget about Ernest Dichter. So, he's the, most motivational, whatever, but he's the first, he literally had a psychology degree, and then he was with, I know he did the Barbie stuff. He did a whole bunch of slogans that are still present today, but it's just, I'm not thinking of it right now.
You think his wife was hotter than Janet Reno?
I don't know about that, but it's a fun fact, though, Greg, he did the Barbie stuff. Now, does everyone here know that Barbie was originally a dominatrix doll in Germany?
I did not know that, sir, and I appreciate that fun fact. That makes a lot of sense to me. These little dolls and demons we're talking about, they all come from Germany. I think they're all fucking demonic. Teddy bears, dude. The same folk that invented the teddy bear made Robert the doll, that cursed fucker that's been getting me for the last 13 years. And if I can close it out on this statement here, gents, I do appreciate both of y'all's time and conversation. Join me for Get a Little GCD, and folks of the interwebs, thank you all for joining me to Get a Little GCD. And tomorrow night, 9:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so I guess that's technically tonight, Saturdays. It's the redoing of the Thursdays, thanks to those curses of Robert the Dolls that folks can check out from previous Sundays. I described all those cursed circumstances in my life, and then on Sundays, it's the time I met the UniBomber, sorta. So, if I can offer either of you gents a closing last final alibis or statements before we call her in here.
Yeah, I just dropped that. So it's great because I dropped the time link, which is obviously Luz, so it's a CIA operation, in the chat there. But it's
Skull and Bones.
And,
let's be honest, also Skull and Bones, right?
Yeah. Her name was Lily for Bild magazine out of Germany, and it was a dominatrix.
Well, I appreciate that, sir. I will be putting that link. I will read more about that as well. I thank you much. I will be putting that link also in the chat for folks to check out that demonic doll or other demonic dolls such as Robert. I'll put a link in that previous show if folks want to check out this cursed fucker, the non-Muppetized version. And then, that's always fun. And I say fun in not a fun way at all. And I don't recommend folks fuck around with cursed dolls. Not good, folks. To the interwebs. One of them fellas just died of that Annabelle doll, and now that one comedian fella just bought it. And I'm like, look, these people, you just other people's people, man. You just can't. You wonder what happens, how do these people get this far in life? You're just gonna go buy a cursed fucking doll after that doll just was with someone who died under, let's be honest, at least some strange circumstances. Do better, people. That's my point in life. Let's not do the cursed dolls. Stay away. Don't go near them.
Right.
I speak from experience. But appreciate y'all joining us tonight. And on that note, we'll catch you next time.
Well, that's it. That's the show here, folks. So the next time you're out on the town, visiting your local watering holes, or perhaps just meandering around, and you hear the unmistakable sounds of metal clanking, and you spot signs of a disturbance, but check your six. Look in that garbage can, 'cause you never can tell. The GCDs may be loose in your town.